All right, guys, welcome back to the show. You know, the conversation we're having today is about our industry, the music side of the entertainment of the creative industry. And today I'll be having very interesting people. I'm going to invite AUDU to come in, and AUDU has been very, very excellent in these conversations we're having with his vast knowledge in the Nigerian entertainment industry, especially the music. You know, so we'll have. Sorry, guys. We'll have OBI ASIKA join us, and then we'll also have Kenny OGUNGBE join us. So I have AUDU. Let's see. Evening, bro.
What's up, man? How you doing?
This thing will start, we'll finish.
We're doing well. You're doing well.
Abi, all right.
All right. All right. That guy's the funniest guy right now, man. He's just a mess. He's a total mess.
You know, he's actually somewhere very close to me now shooting a skit, and
Oh,
then
really?
I was just passing, so I saw him, and I just started laughing. I was like, "What? This guy? How's it going, bro?"
Good, man. How's COVID on lockdown? Because I understand that Lagos now has been eased down. How's that going?
Well, sorry, NIYOLA, I'm going to send you a DM, please. You need to. We're looking for you to contribute the last time, and
Don't mind that.
out.
She took off. She took off. Don't mind.
NIYOLA, I'm going to send you a DM now. You need to come on Zoom, please. Well, though I don't support this opening of this lockdown, right? But I feel like, you know, when I saw videos from the banks and all of that, I was like, this is really not possible. You know, we need to actually do better. So, but hey, it is what it is, and I believe that for whatever reason in life, we need to stay safe. We need to do what we can do to become our brother's keeper this period, because it's tough. You know, every day, you know what we do every day at 11:55, we're on Twitter waiting for NCDC to release the numbers, and then when they release the numbers, we're all surprised. Like someone said, we are surprised, but we are the ones that always go out.
Yeah. Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah. So, I think it's a very exciting panel today.
Very, very.
When it comes to the foundation of Nigerian music, I always say that Kenny OGUNGBE and D1 are the godfathers. And I dare say that really for what they did at the time, I don't think that, with all due respect, I still don't think that the people that actually did it like they did. Yeah. Because they took the game from 0 to 100 in such a short time. And then, you know, through that foundation, a second wave came, a third, and now there's a fourth wave coming in. So I'm excited to have them on this conversation. OBI ASIKA, my big bro, and awesome respect for him as well. And they took this. They were the leader of the second wave, really. You know, when you think about that. So it'll really be exciting to hear sort of what they've gone through. Interestingly, in 2011, so what my biggest mentor actually is Richard Branson. So I met him. My journey started in a sense after I read How I Lost My Virginity by Richard Branson, and I could just see the vision of how a guy started with a newspaper route, and then became and built a company that's 400 companies today, and billions and billions of dollars. But so I got a chance to meet him in 2011 in Nairobi at this African Awards for Entrepreneurship. Yeah. And we had like a private reception for the top 10 finalists, of which we were one of. And, you know, I got a chance to ask him a few questions. And I asked him the question, I said, so what advice do you have for the music industry? He said, it's the toughest industry you can think of, you know. So he said, I don't know how you guys are hanging in there, but I mean, I left a while ago because it really wasn't that easy. And this is 2011. So 10 years later, what he said rings true. It is a tough business, but it can be rewarding as well. it can be really rewarding as well. So I'm excited to hear what they have to say. I'm excited to hear what some of the artists that we're lining up will talk about, and then let's keep it moving, man.
Okay. So AUDU, like I know after our last conversation, a lot of people were tweeting, talking about it, and the funny thing about that conversation was we're having a conversation that we think was very, very direct to our music, the music industry, but if a lot of actors, movie producers, could relate to our conversation, putting it into their own industry. So, and I believe that the conversation we're having, yes, we're focused on the music industry, but is a wide conversation that affects the creative space. So, I don't know if OBI ASIKA can see us. If you can see, so if you can see us, please kindly comment. I don't know if he's here. If you can see us, let me see if I'll send him a message.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking about that. I mean, before Obi comes on, I think Obi's around.
Okay.
Yeah. I think just before it comes on, I think one thing that's very important about these conversations is they're not beef conversations.
Yeah.
They're actually reform conversations, and I think at the time where we need to do a restart across the creative industry, which is the new oil, by the way, right? Yeah. There's a need for us to actually set parameters and set a framework that enables people to put more money and more resources to grow it.
Yeah.
I don't know, you saw Ufoma McDermott's tweet the other day.
Yes.
No, I mean, you showed it to me first. And she was saying, and we chatted a bit, and she said, look, AUDU, that conversation you guys had was mind-blowing. And that people in film need to understand what that is. So I guess the question really for those who are in creative endeavors is to think about, and I keep preaching that, and that's my gospel for the next 1 year, the bigger pie. Always think about the bigger pie. Yeah. Is that if there's a consolidation of forces and people can now look at, strategic advantages that they have, and bring that competitive advantage, you'll see that this oil business we're talking about will be a joke. Think about countries that have only water and sand, and that's where the GDP is based off of, tourism. Nigeria has every single thing you can think of, from gold to human resources to sand, to beaches, but we've not been able to do so because there's a small mentality and there's an oga, that big manism that doesn't apply. So this conversation is for everyone. If you're in a creative endeavor especially, please listen to the guys who are talking because they've done it all. And, this will be a plus ultimately for everyone who's listening. So,
all right, I'll just stay on. I'll get Obi on, and then we'll continue the conversation.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Hey, what's up,
the big
man?
Boss.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Today's like Christmas for me.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Today's like Christmas for me because for someone like me, I started out in the Nigerian entertainment industry, wishing that one day I could get a job at Storm Records to work with Storm Records, and I to have you, And every day it was impossible for people like me to even go close to where the Storm Records studios were at the time when we started out in the industry. But after a while, you became more or less like a big brother to everyone in the industry. And you were always open to advice. You were always open to talking to, getting people to understand how much of an impact we can actually make if we all come together. And that's where we started. That's why this conversation is very, very important. And after our last conversation, I felt like you're one person that should come on this platform and school us on the things that we're doing wrong and the things that we think that we can do right, and where you feel that you can point us through. And also, you've done it all, right? You've been in government, you've been in the creative industry for years, and you're still doing it. So I feel everyone here is ready to listen to you. Please, I want you to just, first of all,
No, listen, I'm just happy to be here with you, man. It's a pleasure and a privilege. And like AUDU is my brother. And it's funny because when he was talking about Kenny and D1, I was like, yeah, people don't even understand. I think if you're not the right age, you don't understand what it was like when those guys hit the scene, you know? Yeah. I think the energy and just being in your face and the confidence, you know, these are the things that they definitely brought to the game. And, you know, I mean, I always talk, when I talk about this stuff, I talk about, like, I mean, my journey is, like you were saying, my journey is long, you know? I go back to, like, Jimmy Jat in 1986. You know, I'm talking about, you know, that's like, and that, to me, he's like the foundation, you know? And then 1989, 1990, I came back to Lagos and we ran a club called Enter the Dragon. Jimmy was one of the DJs. The other DJs were Howie T and GMG. And Howie T, of course, is like literally, Howie T literally is like the man that discovered P Square, of course. You know, I don't have to talk about Jimmy's role, you know, and with Enter the Dragon, with Olusina and Clapperboard Weekend Raps, because Daddy Shoki, first time I met Daddy Shoki, he was a rapper, you know, which is incredible if you think about it. He was with his pretty busy crew. And yeah, so we've been in this thing a long time. I think the most important thing, Street, has to be really congratulated. The most important thing is about and around has and what it's bringing. So I have something coming up that's blocking me. That is bringing the young guy. I wish I was your age, but when I was much younger, there were no generation. Yeah, there were no artists that people could connect to. I mean, there were artists. It was Adewale Ayuba, you know, and we were trying to find people that could be like, you know, what Wiz Video, and that was like the early days before Kenneth. This is like 91, 92. And then Kenny then came in and just, you know, unloaded and offloaded this energy and gave people, hey, look, we should come back in again. And that's the second wave that you're talking about, you know, with LD and Sasha, Jazzman Olofin, you know, and then WFA, you know, Nato C and Ikechukwu, and then Darey, of course, who brought GT to the table, you know, and YQ, Source Kid, LOS. We're privileged to work with a lot of really talented, original people. And I think that's always the thing. I mean, you know this, right? You meet people every day that tell you, boss, I'm the next Inyanya. You're like, no, man, I already have Inyanya. I had Inyanya. Try to be the first version of yourself, right? You need to be original. You need to come through, you know? The thing about Storm is we were really a hip hop label. We were signing rappers only. We weren't even trying to find singers. We were coming from that, you know, hip hop was like an outside, you know, coming from that mentality that they will hear our MCs. We believed that our MCs were as good as anybody on the continent, and that was really our focus. So we were hardcore in that respect. And I think Afrobeats is attitude of hip hop and that fusion of looking for the new sound, you know, between the dancehall, the hip hop, then the African beats, the juju, the high life, and that whole sort of jumbo mix is what happened in the second wave and brought us to where we are now, you know. And it's been an incredible journey. I think everybody who's been part of it should be proud of it, because the truth about the Nigerian music industry, as big as it is and as big as it's grown, it's only happened because of people like us on this call, right? It's people who had individual passion and backed talents and put their money down. There's no big government support. There were no big company support. There was no big money behind anybody. Even when you were looking at Storm, thinking Storm was so big, we were just hustling. We were just very good with the marketing. We understood the communication. We understood that we wanted to have, you know, we wanted young Nigerians to feel confident and feel good, so that when they saw our guys, they wanted to be like them. You know, Kenny, big deal. You want to be like that. You want to dress up. You want to look good. Artists as well, not just, you know, the general public. And so I think for us, and I always like to approach it like a movement. That's the thing about Storm. So we try to support all the African. That was number one priority to me. to make sure that Two-Face, Mo Heads, the band, P Square, everybody's being seen, and everybody's getting that opportunity. Because I always believe that when we win together, then we all win. You know, it's like, and since 2006 till now, the Nigerians are pretty much still dominating the continent. And I think the biggest export from Nigeria is our music. You know, the music travels much faster, much further than anything else. And anywhere you go as a Nigerian now, the first thing they greet you with is, you're Nigerian, I love your music. And that's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. It's an incredible thing to see happen in your own lifetime. When I was at university, there was nobody anywhere on planet Earth that thought that a Nigerian artist could fill the O2 in London. Nobody. I'm telling you straight up. Nobody. In October, I was there with Wizkid filling the entire venue. Angie Stone was playing in the smaller venue. I'm just telling you that 20 years ago, Angie Stone would not have been paying attention to the Nigerian artist. Do you understand? So that reversal of where Afrobeats is compared to where R&B is a huge statement. When you think about the billions of dollars that R&B has already generated and the global footprint that it had, and here come a bunch of guys from Nigeria with a little bit of attitude, a little bit of swag, and they took this Afrobeats thing, and it's everywhere. You know, it's really a Harvard business case study. You know, it's not really something that could just be written out because it's not supposed to have happened. Yeah. And I don't think we should take it for granted. That's one thing. So yeah, we can be hard on people, but I don't think we should take it for granted how far these things have come, because there was nothing before, right? Really, there was nothing. If you go back to 2000, you will struggle to think of 10 Nigerians that were role models. Beyond Super Eagles players, there were very few personalities or influencers or anybody that people were looking up to, right? Today, I think it's a completely different situation. You know, there are a lot of people doing things, a lot of people creating original content, solving problems, delivering solutions, and those are the people that are going to be successful.
You know, this conversation is, we've done all of this, right? Like you said, you would have beat your chest 20 years ago that no Nigerian artist will ever feel the O2. But right now we've filled the O2 and we've done even more, right? Look at the likes of Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, you know, look at what, like the likes of Techno, MI, look at what they've done in 20 years, right?
No, it's incredible.
It's incredible. But right now, the reason for this conversation is you are the second generation of this our music industry. I know that Kenny is watching. Kenny is the first generation.
Man, I'm the first generation too, man. Tell Kenny I said that.
Okay, yeah, well, you're the first. But you know, I always ask myself, where do I come in? I always try to count. So when I see where AUDU is, I'll try to count after AUDU how many people came in before me.
No, because
you know.
Let me tell you why. Because Junior and Pretty, who I can't be here and not mention Junior and Pretty, is our first release originally in 1992. And Junior, unfortunately, is late. Junior's late, unfortunately, but Pretty's still with us. And Junior's not talked about a lot, but I'm telling you, every artist out there needs to go and listen to Junior, because he's like the precursor for Afrobeats. He was rapping in Pidgin. He was doing those hooks. He had the attitude of like a basket mouth in terms of the humor, right? And he was coming with an original flow. And I think, so that's Kenny is the sort of the giants of the, Kenny set it off. I mean, Kenneth made everybody pay attention. Yeah? You know? Because you're talking about the label, you forget about Kenneth's Music Fiesta, right? On the beach, you know, all the stuff on the radio. It's not just the label. They created like a whole culture, you know? And that's what we fed off that to also kick off. You understand? And I think that's what that's what you're talking about. So definitely, in that respect, we came second.
Okay, so what do you think is the problem we're having currently? because we're taking this conversation from the artist and the record label's point of view, because these artists come, we push them, you know, they get to a point where they have issues with the record label. And then now there's a blueprint. So let's say there's a 10-year blueprint on how you think that this artist can get in. Now the artists become bigger and the record labels don't follow the shift. So there are a lot of record labels that you see that their artists are bigger than them, right?
Right.
Now, yeah, and is a lot of that happen in our Nigerian entertainment industry, where these artists are bigger than the record labels, and they now feel like they've outgrown the record label.
Yeah.
So
that's true. That's real talk. That's real talk.
Yeah. So they've outgrown the record label. So how do we come together, right? How do we come together and put an industry where we can actually say this artist is big, but the structure around the artist, you know, is bigger, because this structure can take him to anywhere he wants to go to in the world. So
yeah,
how do we do that? That relationship.
Yeah, I think it's like this. I think people first of all have to be honest with themselves, right? A lot of record labels or so-called record labels, all they are, you and I know, all they are is the name of the label. That's as far as they are a record label, beyond the fact that they have a name. So the issue becomes, what is the so-called label really doing, right? Okay. Now, if you took an artist from nowhere, you know, and groomed him and developed him, depending on the contract you signed with that artist, you should be able to exploit and get your returns over a period of time. That's the reality in every normal market. But in the Nigerian market, probably before the days of digital, in the time when we were doing it, there was really no streams of income. Yeah. The problem was that you would invest your money as the label, put out the music, and even if you had a so-called 360 deal, your artist might go off and do all their shows without you being in the revenue stream, right? If you're not in that revenue stream, you're basically dead as the label, because you don't have any income coming in. All you're doing is, in essence, becoming promotional, right? Because physical sales of products have been a mirage in our market for a long time. By the time we were middle through the second wave, Alaba had even stopped giving any form of advances, right? So nobody was making any money on physical sales. So when you hear artists saying, oh, they got cheated by the label, I'm like, how? The label didn't make any money, okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is that then you got into the times of digital now, where significant money can be made. Yeah. So I think it really comes down to understanding the roles. There's understanding the roles, and there's integrity between partners, right? So if, you know, the thing in Nigeria that you see all the time, and it's not just in Nigeria, I think it's worldwide in the music industry, where certain artists become so big that they're bigger than any so-called label. They're as big, they have a bigger platform, a bigger audience, and they can begin to think, why do I need these people? Well, apart from the issue of integrity, there's also the fact of every artist, every musician, I don't care who it is, they need the business people that manage their career, the lawyer, the auditor, that side of things needs to be there. And then typically, you need a manager that understands you as a talent and is involved in creating your roadmap, right? How you look, your A&R to shape the sound of your album, the narrative of the story you want to tell, the styling you have, the kind of deals you're going to do. When you're at the top of the game, you don't need to do every deal. You need to be very careful, right? Because you can be overexposed. So I think that really what this thing is it's about management, right? Yes. So it's really about management in the new world, because you have digital services that can service your music for you. So you can sort out the publishing and all that stuff and do it on a dashboard and everybody can see it when you're a new artist and you're already pushing. But at the same time, if you have a proper strategic artist manager that really understands the game, then you're going to win. There isn't a single successful artist that doesn't have somebody like that working with them. It doesn't matter whether it's Chris Brown or any artist you want to name anywhere in the world that is ultra successful. They have somebody running that stuff for them, because their job is to create the music. Yeah, you understand? And I think, you know, because you know, sometimes you hear artists think, oh, Jay-Z's got Rock Nation. I'm like, 150 people work at Rock Nation. It's not he's not sitting there like a personal thing, right? That's an operating business that administers a lot of other people's businesses, including he, who by himself, because of his size, he's an institution, right? So we know we have artists in Nigeria that are already the size of institutions.
Yeah.
So the people that manage those artists have to manage them a particular way. And the issue really, I think, is that, which is something that really we should be discussing and should be the primary concern of all Nigerians, because I believe that in the music industry, whether it's the music industry, whether it's any industry we want to talk about, our biggest opportunity is actually in Nigeria. And our smallest return or extraction of value is also in Nigeria, because we don't have a Nigerian music platform that is digital. We don't have physical distribution. We don't have product. We don't have merchandise. So when Iyanya was running things for his 5-year hot streak, right?
Yeah.
If you guys could have sold merchandise, you could have sold millions. But because of supply chains, other things that are outside your control, you're not able to do that. So the thing I think I talk about is someone like Abba, we need to create deliberate partnerships. So we as the Nigerian music industry, we say, okay, you know what? We've created all these stars, but where's the product? Right? There's no product. So hey, Abba, come here. Let's sit down together. What can we create as products? How can we control our brands and monetize them in our country? Right? Why don't we have Davido or Wizkid? I'm sitting here. I have a young child. She's 8 years old, and I'm thinking, if she had a Tenny the Entertainer makeup kit or lunchbox or something, anything, right? There's already audience for it. But all our kids are still going to be consuming Ben 10 and all these other products, because we're not creating products from our own content, from our own stories, our own talents. And actually, what Nollywood has proved and what Afrobeats has proved is that we are most interested in ourselves. So as much as you would watch Spider-Man, if Shango was at the same level as Spider-Man, you'd be watching Shango. Does that make any sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in essence, I think what we've got to be thinking about, and there's some serious issues that COVID-19 is going to bring to the table, right? Because with this COVID situation, worldwide, I don't think anybody can really know whether live entertainment is back for another 12 months, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Safe live entertainment. Now, you and I know that our music people make their money from live entertainment.
Yes.
So how are we going to pivot? What are we going to do to work with the new platforms to generate new ways to monetize so that people can have an opportunity to earn? That has to be a critical conversation, because this is the worldwide issue. It's not even a Nigerian thing. I think the superstar artists will always get support from brands, you know, because they have such huge audiences. But the majority of the industry, the majority of the players, of the creators, what's going to happen to them? All the guys that play in hotels and bars, you know, all those live bands that people use at OGUNGBE and weddings, right? That's a lot of people, and that's the real core of your music industry. Before COVID, my primary focus was on, in terms of the music industry, was like, how could we build live touring and entertainment? How could we have a situation where Davido or Wizkid or Burna Boy, look at how big the boys are, if they could do a 40-city tour in Nigeria, sell 20,000 tickets per location, right? Because Nigerians have not actually seen them on tour ever. They've been seeing them on sponsor show, you know, activation show. But the problem now with COVID is, I think we're 3 years or 2 years away from that. But that still has to be our objective. We've got to build touring. We've got to build more venues. We need to talk about products, merchandise, right? Because we need to look at the streams of revenue for performing artists, and we need to sort out our market in terms of performance rights and all these things, so that, because you and I know there is investment capital waiting to come into the space, right?
A lot.
Whether it's Nollywood, whether it's the music industry, but they will tell you structure, right? So I think the first thing about structure is transparency, integrity. I think it's probably time that us in the music industry go and sit down with the traders to try to solve the licensing and piracy issues. Because it's not going to be, I think the days of fighting are over. We need to convert people. We can all see that we have distribution across West Africa. What we're not able to see is how to get our own revenue share from that distribution. If somebody could tell you today that, or even tell anybody that I would start making, what the hell, I don't know, Wizkid action figures, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? If it's licensed and official, hey, why not? There's a bunch of kids out there that should be liking that stuff, right? So I'm just thinking that, for me, the Afrobeats revolution is an incredible thing that has sort of created an entire culture around it, with the fashion, Nollywood is part of it, the comedy, the attitude. But I still think, I don't know, sometimes people talk and people thought it was a fad. It's almost 20 years now. Fads don't go for 20 years. So it's like hip hop, it's not a fad. I think it's a cultural movement. And I think because it's a cultural movement, I still think it's just beginning. Because there's still places we can go and dominate, right? But we have to be we shouldn't be complacent, because that the guys in Senegal, in Angola, in SA, in Ghana, in Kenya, everybody's cooking their music, everybody's cooking their soup. So the Nigerians shouldn't get complacent and think, oh, it's a wrap, because everybody wants what the Nigerian scene is holding right now. So yes, it's half, for me, it's half full, half empty. We definitely have challenges, but I think our opportunities, this is what me and AUDU talk about all the time, and we've worked a lot on this with Efe Omorebe as well. The opportunities for everybody in the space are enormous.
So there's something that, I don't know if you watched our last session, myself, AUDU, Casey.
I didn't get to see it, man.
But you know what? That means we are all thinking in the right direction, right? We're all thinking the same place, because we've been there, and we're a lot of us are. I'm like a younger brother to a lot of you in the industry, because I came in at the point where I had to look up to all of you. At least I had someone to look up to. I had someone to mirror what I was doing in the industry. But a lot of you did not have that. So I was lucky, right? So don't you think that Wizkid and David, for example, we can actually have an investor that will sit down and tell them, hey, you guys are big. Why not come and let's own a streaming platform together? A streaming platform that even the guys in Nigerians in diaspora would be streaming music from. And it's not going to be run as a Wizkid and Davido streaming platform. It's not going to be run by the people that are currently managing them, but it's going to be run by a proper structured company. And once we do that, we know that we have a force to enter the entertainment, to fight anybody that can come after us. And now it doesn't have to be just Wizkid and Davido. It can be another partnership of Burna Boy and Silver Savage. They have theirs. It can be another partnership of, and you talked about that. And for merchandise, I tell you that I think merchandise for me is a cultural issue. That's my suggestion. It's a good thing, but it's also a culture. We need to look at our culture. Somebody, if I print a heart, for example, let's use Jimmy Jad, for example. A lot of people bought Jimmy Jad's heart because of the respect they had for him, right? Now, because he was Jimmy Jad there, and it was like every other person was after Jimmy Jad. right now, there are a lot of people that will not pick up a hat by an artist to wear that hat and feel like, they'll feel like, oh, I need to wear a Gucci hat. Yeah. I need to wear a Gucci hat. You know, I need to wear this. I need to wear that. You know, for me to feel like I'm among the people that, you know, I'm among the people that are in the society. So what do you think can be done to add value to the kind of merchandising that we want our industry, you know, to have in terms of the artists, you know, because right now, like you said, till 2021, there might be no shows for artists. You know, right now, what we are focused on is we're focused on what's it called? We're focused on just streaming.
Yeah.
And I see Mike here. I see a lot of people here. And you know how streaming is right now. So what can we do, you know, to fully get that space working? Let's start with the streaming side of our business. Because right now we're at home. There's nothing we can do. So how can we do that?
Yeah, I think you know, I think you've touched on it, and I know that I'm having those same conversations. I'm sure you are. AUDU's having them about owned platforms, right? About the live streaming, about how to make it affordable, create revenue opportunities for artists, right? And you know, I think in essence what you're talking about. I mean, to give you an example, I'm going to put in a plug. I created something called Afrobeats Culture. And that entire thing is all about this, because you're saying to yourself, where are we going to go and find this stuff, right? You know, I already know where to find Burna Boy. I know where to find, you know, David and the rest of them. But where can I find the culture? Where's the destination? And I think that's what you're talking about as well.
Yes.
I think it's just going to require, and it could be with an artist. It could just be, let me tell you something. Remember, the biggest disruption to the global music industry in the last 40 years was not done by a music company, right? The two biggest disruptions were done by Apple, right? With the iPod and everything that has happened since then that has now led to Apple Music. And then Beats by Dre with Jimmy Iovine with the headphone. In fact, we could argue that headphone is the most successful music company of the last 20 years, because our headphone has become Apple Music, right? So I think in Nigeria, what we got to do is we have a lot of very sharp people, and we have a lot of guys in the technology space. Some of the entertainment industry has to partner with the technology boys to find the solutions. And those solutions are going to be multifaceted. It's not going to be any one thing. There's going to be ways. You were talking about merchandise. I think there are many types of merchandise. There are many ways to skin the cat, especially digitally, especially from YouTube, right? So I think the thing is this, is that if you think about it like this, all the artists that have millions of fans and followers, right? You know how social media works. They don't control those followers. If the platform switches off the followers tomorrow, you got to start building again, right? So that's why you have CR7.com with 120 million people directly on his site. You understand? So,
but
I think we have to be intelligent about these things. Yeah.
Can you hear me? Before you continue, right? Before you continue, I wanted to fix in something there. Let's say we build a streaming platform. You know, our Nigerian entertainers, they always believe that if they're not telling you that, oh, my music is on Apple Music or is on Spotify, is on this, if they're not telling you that, they don't feel like they're part of you know, what the international game should be. I want you to address that before we go into the merchandising part, because yes, technology, we have a lot of very talented guys in technology. Remember the time where music was streamed on Iro Kings? You remember the time? You know,
of course.
So we have this. I think we have what it takes, right? But do you think that our artists will agree to sacrifice what they are currently doing to say, okay, you know what? Let's trust a new platform that is built for Nigerians, is built for us, and because the diaspora market is also big. Do you think that will happen?
I think the thing is this, is that nobody can say to artists today, be exclusive on a platform, right?
Yeah.
I think there are 200 platforms out there, and they're mostly from 6 core countries or so that have developed them. You know, for some reason, the Scandinavians are very good at this stuff. Finland, Sweden, then of course the UK, the US, maybe the Chinese. So I think that the key is this, right? We need our technology people to build us solutions that can scale. Every artist is looking for an audience. So if you bring a streaming platform today that is hitting 200 million Nigerians regularly, it's going to be the #1 platform in Nigeria. It's really that simple. So I think it's the conversation around the platform and the price point and the delivery, the distribution, right? So we know that MTN and the telcos are launching music platforms. Maybe the branded platforms that they launch, which happens all over the world, have never quite, you know, Amazon Music has 50 million subscribers. But you and I don't think about Amazon Music when we think about hot music. Do you understand what I'm saying? You think Spotify, you think Apple Music, you think Tidal, YouTube even, right? So there are a lot of these platforms. Tencent, the Chinese company, I think they have almost 700 million people on a music subscription service, right? So for me, the ideal thing, this is 2020, we don't necessarily have to go and reinvent the wheel. I think the technology is out there. Buy the technology, deploy the technology. But the truth of the matter is this: until we get platforms that feel authentic to our culture, we won't feel them as our own, right? So until you can deliver a feeling or an experience back to a Nigerian that he feels like, oh yeah, that's you, you're talking to me, right? Then there's really no difference between how he experiences your content on your platform or Apple Music. You understand? So I think I think that's a core issue. And that comes down to user experience and all those other things. But it does not mean that we cannot build platforms that scale. It's like social media. We don't have any major Nigerian social media, right? Maybe Nairaland as a major brand that has a big chat room, yeah? But there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Nobody's walking around in England depressed because they don't own Facebook or Twitter, right? Those things come out of Silicon Valley. Good luck to them. The issue is, what are we doing with these platforms? What features are we building onto them? Or, you know, how are we using them to monetize in our market? I think those are the really important things for everybody who is using these tools. I think the monetization is the key conversation for anybody who's a creator of content. It's not even just about the musicians. So video, you can imagine video content creators, hair and beauty bloggers, influencers, right? It's all about how interactive are you? How much engagement are you driving with what you're doing? And that will lead to some level of income, either from advertising or from, you know, from the people that follow you.
So you spoke about ABBA.
Yeah.
You know, when you spoke about ABBA, it just hit me that there's something we're actually missing. You can imagine meeting the top guys. You know, I was just thinking about it. You can imagine meeting the top guys in ABBA in terms of manufacturing and tell them, listen, we give you guys this game. Davido will come to your market. Wizkid will come to your market. Tiwa Savage will come to your market. OBI ASIKA will come to your market. AUDU MAIKORI will come to your market. Keke will come to your market. We're coming to give you guys, if we're dropping a song, we want you to flood the whole of Nigeria with a particular merchandise. And we'll support you that you tell us, if you can tell us how many numbers you're selling, you can give us it. Because when you mentioned about, just I think, I said, what? So there's actually a production chain that we are not tapping into. But they're actually producing the fake ones and selling and making money.
Bro, see, let me tell you something. It's like this, right? If we think about the fact that all the produce and products that move around West Africa, yeah, are basically moving through Aba and Onitsha, right? So that the pipe is there. That's the pipe, right? So whether it's sneakers, jeans, you know, whatever the hell it is, they're pushing it. The question is this: as they're pushing this stuff to 350 million people in West Africa, right? You and I know that those 350 million people are the biggest audience on earth for our products. So for me, it now becomes, okay, can we put products in front of them? Can we make money together? That's got to be the conversation. Why can we not make money together? Are we not all here, right? If I've got a guy, because if you were doing this in the West, if you go and look at FUBU, right? What is FUBU? 4 black boys with no money in New York, right? But then they got a multinational distributor behind them. Once the multinational distributor got on board, now they were in all the stores. You understand? So in Nigeria, a lot of times when we say lack of structure, when we're talking about Nollywood, where's the distribution? Where's the retail? If you have to provide all those things yourself, you're dealing with almost impossible odds. But if you're sitting in, I can guarantee you, if we in the Nigerian soft power community, if these brands we have built, if we were sitting in the UK, in Europe, Germany, China, Japan, America, would have monetized 1,000 times more, just based on having the plug and play value chain in place. Because you're not going to be looking for, you're going to call a brand agency to design this thing, you're going to approve it, you're going to do the deal with the distributor, he's going to tell you this is the price point, this is your revenue, right? And then you go to bed. The rest of your job is to do the marketing, right? He does marketing, you support the product. As long as it's transparent and there's integrity, if you know that, hey man, I sold 1 million, you know, let's say it's Tiwa, I sold 1 million bracelets with Tiwa on it. As long as Tiwa gets the money for 1 million bracelets, yeah, Tiwa's gonna authorize the second bracelet in high speed. So transparency, integrity, and being open to new conversations about things we should have done already. Because I think the only thing stopping us is us. I don't think we don't need anybody from America to come and tell us that the boys in our band, Newi Onitsha or Computer Village, or, you know, that these guys, they sell all the mobile devices in Nigeria. All that stuff is sold through those channels. So I think it's about strategically acting. You know, AUDU knows this. I'd love to hear his view on this.
Yeah, I'll bring on Kenny OGUNGBE shortly. But you see, a lot of Nigerian artists, right? When you come to them with these suggestions about, you know, merchandise, you know, monetization of content, most of the time they ask you for upfronts, right? And I think that's the deal breaker, right?
Yeah.
Now, because they don't have the right business people around them to monitor these things, and they might not have the kind of money to, you know, to pay out salaries in terms of putting together a structure that will help them manage their investments. You come to them and say you want to do 10 million t-shirts. They'll tell you to pay them upfront. Whatever you want to do, you can do. Now, you don't know whether the guy is going to do 20 million t-shirt or he's not going to, you know. So they don't, how do we, you know, before I bring in Kenny, how do we encourage the artists to understand that they need an external business manager that sees things differently and sees a holistic, sees it from a different point of view in terms of business, knowing that if I sell 10 million t-shirts, you can get 50%, or you can get 70% of that, or you can get 40%, and you make more than the advance you want to get upfront.
Yeah, I think it's about, at the end of the day, what you're hearing when you hear those things is generally lack of trust from artists, right? It's like, how do I know what you're going to sell? And that's a big question, because, you know, in our marketplace, transparency is very difficult. Everything is very opaque. So it's difficult to say, even if I say I want to sell 10 million t-shirts or even 10 t-shirts, right? What's the reporting process for me to know that you sold the 10 t-shirts or you sold 10,000? right? And that's the part of the thing that we have to solve to win the trust of talent. Because definitely everywhere in the world, anybody who has become a major talent and has a big audience has a level of insecurity about how to protect that brand, right? And that's important. In terms of teams around them, like I said before, a lot of the professional services should be external function. A business manager should always be involved who is looking at these sort of issues, right? If you have a lawyer and a business manager, they should be able to advise on these sort of issues. But then again, it always depends, as you know, it always means that you have to be working with people who have that mentality that say to themselves, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to try and achieve. Because the truth of the matter is, as everybody knows, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, right? The first person that rolls out a merchandise platform or campaign that works properly here, everybody's going to be on it. You understand? Because this thing is not rocket science. If I see that, hey, David sold 1 million T-shirts last week, I'm going to try and see if I can sell 10. Do you understand? I think it's what we're all looking for now.
Yeah.
The power of example. So we have work to do as amongst ourselves. I think Nigerians are very intelligent. I think what we can improve on is to really think about the solutions. I saw somebody's comment. I'm not talking about selling music through Alaba. We're talking about the byproducts from the music, right? We're talking about merchandise, about products. I think music is really digital now, right? So a music platform makes sense. But what makes even more sense is music rights management, royalties, collections, right? So that, you know how it is, when you're hot, you're not worried about that stuff. But in 10 years' time, you might be worried about it because it wasn't done properly. You understand? So I think these are the things that the industry needs to be concerned about, needs to be focused on, And just before my time is up, I'm going to shout out Kenny before he comes in. And of course,
your time is not up. I'm going to bring you back.
Okay,
I'm going to bring you back at some point because I need to, because it's a conversation that we need to. Kenny is going to come in. His wealth of experience is also very, very important for this conversation tonight. So I'm going to bring on Kenny, but please just stay on because we would like you to come back on the show. Wow. My boss.
A saluto.
I never knew in my life I'll sit down here to interview someone that opened like the gate for a lot of us to become who we are today. And I'm very, very honored to do this today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. And allow me to say thank you to OBI. Also, thank you to AUDU. Yeah. They are fantastic guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So we're talking about foundation and how we can fix the major things that affect us as an industry in terms of how record labels and artists can build a stronger relationship, a better relationship that will help us, scale our industry properly. And, look for the world to look at us and take us serious. You in terms of pioneering this industry, you were there. You did a lot of work for us to feed today. It's like you built houses for people like me. You bought cars for people like me. So and you can see OBI ASIKA has come here and he has given you that honor. AUDU MAIKORI, the comment section, everyone is saying legend, legend, legend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want you to please school us this evening. Just tell us what we are not doing right, where we are now, and what your advice would be.
Thank you, UB. first and foremost, let me say that relationship between an artist and record label is the same globally. Only in Nigeria, record labels, they are much nicer to artists. Much, much more nicer. And again, we need to be able to have a very watertight contract with artists. Because every time when we started, there was nothing to look onto to say guide us. We were just doing it. And while doing whatever we are doing, we made some mistakes. And people coming after us also, they look at what we're doing. They try to copy what we're doing. Even our mistakes, they also latched on to them. The major thing is to have a watertight contract, because let me take it to the US. I hate doing this. An artist signed with a record label. They produce a single. They've listened to about 10 songs from you. They give you one video. If you don't work hard to blow with that one video, you only get second video. If you don't even work harder to blow, they drop you. They drop you. They look for next. James, are you ready? You ready to roll? Let's do it. They do one video. You don't try to blow. Second video, they drop you. They go to the next one. Are you ready? If you're not ready. But here, what we do, we take one artist, we pamper them, we with them from nowhere, we upgrade them, we do ride or die with them until they finally blow. You that you are working towards an artist to blow, you are praying for the artist to grow. You are praying for the artist to be successful. Remember, once the artist is successful, he has money. When you met him, he has no money. He came to you begging. Again, now he's rich. He can call. He can produce his own video. He can produce his own album. He can go out without you. And again, there are so many influences, communications, talking to his head, deceiving him that you don't need this guy. This guy is eating your money. And again, from there, you start having, oh, wait a minute now. Let me see what the hell is going on. Okay, this is true. Okay, you're now checking out what the person is doing, putting a wall in between your concrete relationship. And again, you start to think, well, what is he doing that I can't do? I can do this by myself. Then you now go on. I was listening to Kathy on Instagram. Was it not Bengade Inka that asked her that what is it that makes her upset or that makes her unhappy about the industry? You know what she said? She said she puts her sweat, her energy, her all in all on a dancer, and all of a sudden the dancer leaves. That breaks her heart. The same thing with record label. We get too attached to one particular artist, and again, you just let go. You see, Banky W did something, and I so much give him a lot of kudos. When he was working with what's his name now? After Wizkid, he was working with an artist. Artist is big now. I can't remember his name. I will still remember his name. I don't go. You know they had a Wizkid, and again they had another guy. You don't remember his name? Thank you, thank you. When things were not going on well, the contract was about to expire. He came out and he said, "People, we are not working with Scales anymore," and they left. Not too many record labels will come out to say that, because we still be holding on, be targeted on, waiting on to be successful. That created a lot of issues for the relationship. I would also like to take you back to the fact that there are so many Nigerians, so many, that can sing, but they don't have money to produce. They don't have money to do video. They don't have money to run promotions. Now promotion is the most expensive part of music business, because you have to produce a beautiful video that will cost you between 2 million to 3 million, depending on the concept, or 4 million. Yeah. And again, after that, you have to run it through the TV station, Trace TV, Hip TV, Sound City, Nigezie, all across the waters like that. And again, all those, too many radio stations now that you have to go through, and of course, online. that you have to spend money on before you can get known. So many of them don't have that kind of money. Those are the ones that we need to look at and have a good relationship with, have a good contract with, not 2 years. When we started, we were doing 2 years. If you really want to make money on an artist, you don't sign 2 years. I don't see how you're going to make your money back. I don't see it. You start for 4, 5 years, 7, 8 years. Elekuche signed a deal with Def Jam for 10 years, 10 good years. And if you ask him, he still gives respect to Def Jam. And there's no problem. The business goes on. We need to take a look at this because so many people that they have money now and they think that, okay, you know what, you don't need a record label now. You don't need them. You can do it on your own. And you start your own. And so many people were encouraged because they had money to do the business by themselves, for themselves. And again, they blew. It can happen to anybody. Even you don't need to know how to sing. You don't, on my own list, to know how to sing is 10%. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you can do 10 out of 100, you can blow. All what you need, good video, good concept. And again, get a good producer. Pay the producer well. Pay the director well. And have your money to run your video. Have your money to run online. People will dance to the song, whereas you would know that the song is a shitty song. You know the song is not fantastic. And again, it will run not for long, maybe 3, 4 months. By that time, you've made a lot of money from streaming. You've made a lot of money, people watching it on YouTube. You made of money, and again, you move on. Again, it's just time to let know that we are few of Nigerians that they have money to produce videos, to produce audio for themselves, but there are so many millions of Nigerians, they don't have money. They need help. When you say you don't need them, go on your own, you are discouraging others that they needed help, that if somebody say, okay, you know what, come, let me be part of you, let me assist you, let me promote you, let me push you, but you cannot say you are running your own record label, because I've experienced that many, many times with so many artists, and you'll be very blunt, you'll be very blunt with them. That's the story.
So I want to ask you a question, right?
Okay.
You see, do you think that our legal system in Nigeria is the reason why artists will just wake up and leave contracts? Because you see, if you sign an artist for 10 years, let's say 5 years, 7 years to 10 years in Nigeria, and the day he wakes up and wants to leave his contract, you hear, he says, you've been a slave master, you want to kill this guy. And they will not understand that, see, I don't think there's a record label that will come out and say, I'll beat my chest that I made money and made profit as a business when it comes to these artists. Not many, you know. But our legal system in Nigeria, I think that is where the problem is. You can sign an artist, you know, someone was saying here that Future has been signed since 2014, he has been signed for 14 years, since 2002, right? Do you think that our legal system is a problem why artists just feel they can wake up and leave?
I don't think so. I beg to differ. You know, when I was managing Two-Face, do you know what they say? Kenny has used this money. He has bought a Hummer Jeep. He has bought Range Rover. They said that, but I don't listen. I don't listen to anybody. I just face my business and move on. How much was the percentage then? Percentage was less than 20%. I'm very glad to share this with anybody. Management deal was less than 20%, even less than 15%. But I'm very sure you heard that time, Kenny don't chop Two-Face money. He don't eat, he don't they collect the money. They will say that. Just forget and move on. Forget. If you listen to what to do or what to be able to behave because of what people say, you will never be successful. Again, your question was, do I think that the legal system in Nigeria can work well? Because once you start to make it, you cannot say you want to jump off, you want to jump. It's going to be in the contract. If you want to jump, you pay all the money spent on you.
Okay, sir. I want to get in there. we've seen artists walk out of contracts in the Nigerian entertainment industry, in the Nigerian music industry, right?
Yes.
They walk out of contracts and they don't care. You go to court today, go to court tomorrow, go to court next tomorrow. You keep going back and forth. And I also blame labels. I'll tell you why I blame labels, because a lot of labels don't have a track record of their spending on an artist. Because if you go to, a lot of them go to court, where record labels fail when they go to court, I have seen so far is when they get to court, the court asks them, can I see a spreadsheet of what you have spent on this artist from inception? They cannot show it. So now on the record label side,
those are now record labels.
Exactly. So on the record label side, they've messed up. So do you think that we should advise our government and our legal system in Nigeria to set up special courts or special courts for us as a music industry, where if an artist and his record label are having issues, they go there, that court handles specific issues that have to do with contract issues within the Nigerian entertainment, within the Nigerian music industry?
Well, what you said, the first and foremost, if a record company, I say that with deep sense of respect, a company is working and you don't keep records of your spending, you are not a company. You are not. You are a ramshackle company. Just like there are ramshackle doctors, ramshackle lawyers, ramshackle anything. Don't call yourself a record company. You are giving us bad names. Everything must be done diligently, transparently, and must be seen that you are spending money and you are keeping every cover. And you are telling the person you are spending the money on, look, oh, we are shooting video. Clarence Peter is going to collect 4 million. Oh, and again, we feel you need to be part of this meeting to be able to approve. Once you say yes, that's the creativity, that's the idea that you want. We are giving Clarence Peters 4 million. Okay or not okay? Okay, sign. You sign on the deal. And again, the check is written to Clarence Peters. That money must come back. It's not juju. It's not charity. It's not frivolous spending. Because the person collecting, we are not the one collecting the money. You are the investor, putting the money on your investment so that you can shine, so that you can grow, so that you can be elevated. But once you are elevated, you have to respect the contract. If you don't respect the contract, you don't only pay all the money that are spent on you, we put a percentage. Because every year, things are changing. Yeah. Every year, it's getting tougher every day. The level it gets to today is going to be tougher next year. It's going to be tougher 2 years to the future. It was going to be tougher year 2020.
Yeah.
Because we are all watching what's going on and we have to guide our investment, or else there won't be investors.
Okay. So you said something that is really important about involving the artist in terms when you're about to pay for something. Now, artists still don't care, they will still leave. You know, artists will still leave. Do you think that for investors to trust us very well, if I have 20 million naira I want to spend on an artist, do you think that it will be proper? I was telling AUDU in the last conversation we're having that what I think that will be proper will be, this is my suggestion, get a bank and tell the bank, you see, I'm keeping my money for investment on this artist with you. You can use the money to invest in any other business, but just know that anytime I come, you are loaning that money to me as a label, and the artist will also sign. That means we are owing the bank. That means my label and the artist are owing the bank. Until we pay off that loan, the artist cannot leave.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
I said that to AUDU, and AUDU kept laughing. But you see, it's actually, we need to find a way to secure both the artists. We're not just talking about record labels here. We're talking about the artists and the record, so that we know that there's a proper structure to which we can make money properly. Because now,
the main issue is the artist. If an artist does not believe that there's investment on his head, let him go before he blows. Because if an artist is showing 5% of problem before he blows, I've had an artist that I signed that I love so much that I presented him with an older artist to rap on the song with Dele Ojo of Blessed Memories. And on the floor of the video shoot, I sacked him. Kenny Ogungbe says so. Yes, because of his attitude. We were shooting video He was busy doing nonsense. To automatically, I just said, look, if we are promoting you, we want you to blow. You are giving us problem on a location like this. This one finger will not go enter in yansh. I said, my friend, cut it short. Video shoot is over. You got to go. Bye. And don't call me. Throw away my phone number. You know, when I started the business, I don't know anybody. I came from Los Angeles, coming to Nigeria, did not know anybody. When we started, we did not know anybody. And a lot of people, they knew us. Sometimes they think maybe we are pompous. We are not. We are just young boys trying to make things happen. I was living in Los Angeles all my life. And all those places where things happen, we know the way it happened. That was the love that we brought back to Nigeria to make it up. We are not playing. It's business, my brother. It's show business. You have to have the show and I control the business. If you are not ready for the business, the show to be done business-wise, you are not ready for the show. Go and perform at your house. And let your brother, your sister, your cousin do your manager for you and we see the way it goes. So saying that maybe the bank should hold on to the money, I will say the record company should explain to the artist first to let you know, look, what we're doing is business. The money must come back. If it doesn't come back, you remember what I said at the beginning? I said we were too nice. That Americans, they will shoot one video for you. One video only. If you don't make it, you are gone. You go back to the bottom of the ladder. And again, you want to make it, you hustle, hustle, hustle. Once it's done, you make it, then you can progress. But here in Nigeria, we like to take it slow. Hold on, it will blow. Let's keep on working. And again, it now boomerang at the end of the day.
So, I still think that, and I'll still stand by my suggestion, that for us to understand, for these artists to understand that money is actually being paid from the record label point of view, right? Because I always tell an artist that if I go out to visit...
I think you are spoiling them.
No, I'm saying that we should...
I'm sorry to say, if you are doing business, artist is a business partner. If I'm doing business with you, you are my partner. And these are the terms of reference. You have to go by it, and that's why there's a contract. If you don't go by it, I can't do business with you. For me, now going to meet a third party, saying that, okay, put 20 million in a bank account, and again, use it, and I'm the one giving the 20 million to the bank, use it because I'm afraid of the artist. You tell the artist that the artist is a loan for your career. It's not, I don't buy it.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, since the artist is a business partner, between the label and the artist, they are business partners.
Yes.
So right now, I'm taking my own investment and giving it to the bank, believing that the artist knows that if he blows, right? If the artist blows, he will run away. So now, when the artist blows and he runs away, the bank will be the one chasing the artist and chasing me. So now I'll tell the bank, okay, I'm here. We're looking for we're looking for the artist because we need to look for a stronger entity to fight to look for this artist, because we need to know what we're doing. Basically, you've been beaten so many times as a record label owner, right? But you see, this is a conversation we're having because we need to find a way to have a better relationship between the artist and the record label, so that we can break bread properly. Some record labels are not really doing the right thing by they don't sit down and explain things to the artist. But some artists always feel like so but let's talk about the avenue where some artists become bigger than the record labels. Some record labels don't try to move with the wave of how things are moving, right? So the record labels, the artist becomes bigger than the record labels. What happens in that case?
Now, before an artist gets to that biggest level, a record company now signs 360 degrees. 360 degrees means all the money, all the revenue by artist, the record company has a share in that revenue. Before, we used to charge 15% on management and higher percent on record deal. Now I'm happy that people are now charging up to 50-50. I've read some news inside newspaper that the artist collects 50% and the record label collects 50% all across the board, which is beautiful. For you to be bigger than me after collecting 50% of your money, it's not possible. Those things you said are the good olden days, not in year 2020. Tell me an artist in year 2020 that is bigger than artist. Nobody, unless if a record company is greedy by saying, you know what, record company will collect 70%. Oh, you are an artist, we pay you salaries. And once we pay you salaries, we now give you 30%. The artist may not be able to be wise enough or go to a lawyer that will tell him, don't sign that contract. Oh, let's find a better way to negotiate for you. There are so many cases where an artist left a record company. It used to happen to me. People even used to laugh at me when it happened to me, But now it has happened to so many others that right now, I'm laughing at them. You're laughing. Don't, it's a serious problem. It's a very serious problem because we were not collecting big enough on the 360. Even some artists, we didn't have 360 with them. Even some artists, they go perform. I was listening to OBI, I was shaking my head. I was laughing. Even some artists, they go perform, we don't get a penny out of the performance fees. Those are good olden days. Now, if I sign you, I take 40% of your money. I'm saying this so that people can learn. 40% of your management fees. 40. Are you with me? I'm not a greedy person. That people are collecting 50%. I'm not going to say bring 50. No, I'll bring 40%. And again, the sales of the record, I collect the highest of the percent because that's my property. The money, the going around is your property as an artist. The recording is my property. You go perform, you make more money. I said the CDs, I make more money. You have to sign. If you're happy, you sign. If you're not happy, don't sign. I'm not in a hurry. I've recorded over 80 albums, 80. And I have no way, and I'm still selling. And I will sell them 2020, 2040, forever and ever. Are you with me?
Yeah. So
there's no way, because if you take a look at Universal Music, take a look at those music label overseas, Warner Brothers, Sony Music. It doesn't happen. You never saw Michael Jackson bigger than Sony Music. Did you see that?
80 albums.
It never happened. Anybody that is young, before you make it, they do one video for you, maximum 2 videos. If you don't make it, they cut you off. But once you're going to make it, they have a watertight contract with you that you cannot jump. If you say, okay, I don't want to sign with you, and you still have 3 years left on your contract, you pay all the money I spent on you. You pay. If you don't pay, you can never work. I take you to court, you will lose. You will not win because you signed the contract. That's the way I see it.
So, you see, this is very, very important because you see, in our industry today, these artists just wake up and leave. You see, I need to come back there because of our legal system. Now, I said this in the last conversation. When artists are okay and nothing is happening, they don't call their lawyers. But when they have a problem, they wake up and quickly call their lawyers and say, lawyer, where are you? This label wants to kill me. I need you to come. And then the lawyers come thinking that the labels, they are enemies to the labels. Now,
Ubi,
a lot of lawyers
Ubi, let me stop you. Let me stop you, Ubi. If an artist, I talk to you, say you want to call your lawyer, no problem. I will let your lawyer come. Lawyer come. If I don't know the lawyer is coming, I will tell you, Mr. Lawyer, I did not know you are coming. I need to call my lawyer too. He has money to hire a lawyer. I have money to also hire a lawyer so that you won't be questioning me without my lawyer. So this meeting will have to be postponed. Either you come back in 2 weeks' time. By that time, my lawyer will be seated. His own lawyer will be seated. I will be seated. He also will be seated. Now we can talk. If you say anything I'm not comfortable, I will ask my lawyer. That statement, can I talk or I should not talk? I guess lawyer should talk to lawyer. Because musicians, they like to, there are so many ramshackle lawyers out there. I'm sorry to say, we did respect to enough SANs. Many lawyers, they just want, somebody artist is popular, they just want to jump on the artist. And they will put all kind of lies on his head. Say, no. You're not supposed to do that. He's cheating you. He's cheating you. That is the way cookie crumbles. It's done like that in Nigeria. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's not peculiar to music industry. It's peculiar to all industry. If any artist bring a lawyer, he must tell you he's coming to the meeting with a lawyer. He will be in the contract. He will be in the contract. Lawyer will face lawyer. They can talk. I will just be looking. I will put my hand underneath my chin and say, lawyer, walk now. Talk to this your learned friend. You guys should talk in a way that we can understand. That is the way it is. Nobody can throw any. And that particular statement will be in the contract you signed originally. So that you won't say, Abakeke is now coming to become a... But you sign now that whenever your lawyer said, my lawyer also will present it, so that they can face themselves. Because those lawyers were not there when he came to say, please assist me. When he didn't have money to do a video, to get the production done, to beg for business. Because they beg for business from record labels. And again, they now turn around and again give record labels bad names. Let me also use this opportunity to say even record labels were not being given enough good PR. Because journalists, they are close to musicians. When anything happens, oh, Kiss Daniel dumps a record, blah, 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 blah. Without even talking to the record company. Because they are fans of the artist. Me, I'm not a fan of any artist, though. I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. This is business. If I must like the music before releasing the music, that does not mean I'm your fan. I'm your business partner. I am. Am I talking too much?
You know, but see, no, you know what? You have actually said the right thing, because in our industry today, I know a lot of record label owners are watching this Instagram live. In our industry today, we tend to become too close to these artists, right? And we make them, okay, this artist, this is my friend, this is my guy. You understand? Yeah. And we start doing guy, my guy.
Thank you.
And you know how it is. We love this artist so much. When you have an artist, you love him like your own wife or your own girlfriend. You know, you do everything for them. And then it gets to a point where it becomes really, really bad. And then things go bad. You know, things go really, really bad to a point where you cannot do anything. So you think that a record label should not have a personal relationship with the artist, you know, because it's a business?
They should, but it must be documented. It must be documented. Once it's not documented, you are not doing business. You are doing charity. You are giving away your rights. And the artist knows. Trust me, they are very wise. They know that you are giving away your rights, and they will parley you until you give all your rights away to them. It's not supposed to be.
So
it's not supposed to.
You know, there are a lot of people that just, you know, when an artist starts working with you, you don't see a family, you don't see friends, you don't see nobody. But once it blows, you start having friends, family, this promoter. You know, how do you always try to deal with those kind of situations where once an artist blows, you see his father, his uncle that's a lawyer in America, his auntie's brother that is an SAN, and they just all pop out and try to see how they can get him out of the contract that he already signed?
You know, my contract is about 40 pages, 40-page contract. 40-page contract. And inside that contract is also there. It's also there that you cannot bring your family that I do not know before you sign this contract and say this is your father, your uncle's cousin, your blah, blah, blah. All that is a way.
Oh my God, 40 pages contract.
I think it's breaking up.
NIYOLA,
okay, are you there? Okay. It's in the contract. It's also written that you cannot talk to journalists bad about the company that brought you up. It's there. And
but
you have to sign.
Go ahead to do that anyway.
No, none of my artists did that. None. Nobody. Tubaba, gentleman. Idris Abdul Karim, I love him. Tony Tetuila, I love him. They don't talk. But the journalists in them, The journalists put some ugly words in their mouth to want to bad talk the record label because they want something. They want to sell their paper. I'm a journalist as well. And they have to look for something unique to sell the paper that you will say that will be able to sell their paper. You know, but everything must be documented, sir. Everything. And even there are new things that are coming on now that you just hear that happened to artist A with a record label B. You quickly pick it. You check if it is not in your contract. You perfect it. You put it in your new contract for the next artist that you sign, so that it will guide you against that particular problem in the future. We learn every day about this business. And I'm happy you are bringing this up, because this is the first time I'm talking like this, UBI. This is the first time ever. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for making this happen. Because people are listening to us. Sir. They're also listening to us on Kenneth FM. They can also learn about what is going on, so that we can all move forward in this problem of quagmire of artists and record label, blah, 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 blah. It's ridiculous.
So, sir, you know, you said something now that is really important. So when an artist is leaving a record label, right? Or maybe an artist is leaving a record label and you read about why he's leaving the record label, and you quickly go and put up an addendum to his contract. What if you have an artist that doesn't want to sign the addendum, of an addendum that you are trying to change in a few things that you see that have happened in the industry? What if the artist decide not to sign?
You know, I've been in this industry for over 20 years.
Yes, sir.
I've monitored many cases, documented many cases. If there's a need for me to put an addendum into any situation that I did not remember at the beginning of the engagement, that is telling me I was not prepared. That means I would lose that particular situation. I won't be good enough to go and ask an artist and say, oh, please change this one. I will not. I will let the contract expire the way it started. During the renewal, if the artist is going to renew, I would not say, okay, can we do this? Is this okay with you? If I knew he's going to say no, I won't even ask him. If I knew that, oh, this artist, he gets conscom, I don't go ask him. Because I know he will give me conscom answer. I will just eat my good old, I will eat the pie like that and let it go. Instead of me trying to add some kind of discussion or some kind of discount or some kind of addition to the percentage of the revenue, no.
Wow. So, but we know that there are some sir, I want you to speak about this. We know that there are some record labels that are, and we cannot just say artists, as we know that there are some record labels that don't behave themselves well, especially with artists, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
What do you have for these record labels? Because it's very important for us to make that known.
They need to change. They need to change, because if they don't change, they will give us bad name. In this industry, like I said before, there are some ramshackle record labels. And again, it's not peculiar with record label. There are some ramshackles doctors. People are not supposed to be doctors. They have clinics. They are giving people wrong injections. That is why we have NAFDAC. That's a regulatory body that is working 24 hours. But music per se, we don't have some kind of a regulatory body that is governing all aspects of our works. So in that case, we have to self-regulate ourselves to know that, okay, you are not doing this well, please request for help, ask for help, receive assistance or seminars or committee, because I don't see seminars, for instance, for record labels. We need to start doing such things so that we can learn. Record labels to record labels. We need to exchange notes. We need to come together. There's no unity in music industry in Nigeria. No, you're laughing. Am I right or I'm right? There's no unity.
You know, and a few days ago, I and AUDU were actually having this same conversation where we feel like some record labels just spring up, right? And the basis for most part of this conversation we're having is we want to have record labels not feeling like they are competing with other record labels. So the same way it's good for artists to be part of COSAN, right?
Yes.
It's also a good thing for us to have an association of record labels. Because don't forget, sir, you know that there are artists that leave record labels, and then other record labels will be supporting them.
Yes.
Saying that, yes, it's good that you're fighting this person. And then, you know what? The funny thing is, after a short period of time, it happens to the record label.
Absolutely.
Do you understand? So I don't think there's any record label in Nigeria that will say they've not been hit by artists and record label issues. All. Do you understand? So for me, I think that if we are going to create an association where record labels will sit down, if you are setting up a record label, say, okay, you know what? There's some way you can sit down with people and say, okay, you know, I'm starting up a record label. This is what I can do. And like Audu was saying in the last conversation, not everybody should even start up a record label. We have Can Use Music as big as possible. If you have 100 or 200 million that you want to start up a company, you can say, you know what, Kenny's, can I buy X percentage of your company? Or can my record label be a sub-label under your record company? So you're using the same staff, you're using the same organization, and you are working on your own to make sure that your record label goes through the proper process of owning a record label. Because right now we have many record labels around, but they don't have the right structure in place. Another thing is, if an artist leaves one record label, another label should not want to sign him, especially when he leaves
without the expiry date. Yes.
Yeah. So another label should not wake up and just sign the artist, because right now we see in the industry where an artist is leaving a label and that label is ready to receive you because they believe that it's good numbers for them, right? And so what would you basically advise in that whole section of having labels that are coming up trying to partner with other labels, or labels that are already existing partnering with other labels that they believe that have a proper structure, right? To make sure that the industry grows better.
You've raised a very good question. Yeah. Record labels should form associations. Though there are some associations now, they can be fortified, or we form a brand new Nigerian music record label association that will be able to cater for all just new Nigerian music record labels. They can now work with additional other recording artists organizations that they have been, because the one that is on the ground is not working totally with the new Nigerian music record label. It's not. If they are, I don't know. They need to talk to people like us with due respect, so that we know that we are working together. You said something earlier. I would like to bother on that, on what you said. An artist living in a record company that has an issue with the record company and being invited by another record company. It happened to me. I won't mention any artist. It happened to me. I said, okay, you want to go to another artist. There's another company that is interested in accepting you. No problem. But the videos I've done for you, we have not made enough money from the sales. We have not made enough money from the YouTube. So the record company, you are going to tell them that for me to allow you to go to them, they have to pay me all the money I've spent on you with some markup. And again, we cannot discuss about the publishing rights and again, other rights on the music that I have. If you pay a whole money with enough markup, I can release the whole work to you. You can take it to the next record label. But if they want to pay part-time or they want to pay some percentage, they cannot own the work. They can get some percentage of the work. He went to them. They did not bring the money. I gave them a bill. They didn't come back with the bill. They didn't come back with check. So the person now waited until this contract now ran out. We cannot stop anybody from moving. It's a life. Just like advertising company. MTN can decide to be with a particular agency today. Next year, they can change. Upper year, they can change. And in this, our advertising industry, I've seen products move every year. Every year. And I see those products as musicians. Again, before moving, they will have set to advertising agency A thoroughly before they move to advertising agency B, and they will have paid their media houses the whole money they are owing, so that they won't say that, the one you were with last time was owing money, so that the one you are now with would not have backlog or problem with radio or TV stations. It can be done. Again, we need to come together as one force. You mentioned something, COSON. If you know the amount of money that the government has frozen. It's over R1 billion. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Industry have over R1 billion in account. I was told that by P-Man president. Pretty. If I say P-Man president, some other people will say who give him P-Man president. That is not the P-Man president. They will mention another person's name. That's why I said there's no unity in the music industry. We need to come together, one force, one unified organization, and work for all. Not somebody getting a lot of people together and again sitting on top of over R1 billion or R2 billion and sharing peanuts. Peanuts. I say that with deep sense of respect. Dashing peanuts to superstar like Whiskey, superstar like Two-Face, and again, you don't want them to talk. It's not done. And again, we say there's no structure. There's structure in publishing. There's structure in people paying COSON for them to pay to the artists. Artists are not happy. That again goes back to management of structure that is created by government to help musicians. But musicians, they need to help themselves.
Sir, I want you to wait with us. I want to bring on AUDU MAIKORI, right? Okay. Because OBI ASIKA is also waiting. I want to bring in AUDU MAIKORI to put in a few points where we currently are. And if there are any artists in the building, I want to bring these artists to come and I have NIYOLA. I have NIYOLA as well. So because we would like to have an artist, right, also come in and discuss a few things. Also, AUDU MAIKORI needs to come in because there are a few things that we need to align properly so that everybody understands. Because some people are feeling like this is about just the artist, where the labels against the artist. No, that's not this conversation.
No. We want something better.
Two artists. Yeah, we had two artists last week that came on the show. They were talking about from the artist point, and they were talking about from the record label point. You understand? And right. It made the conversation very, very balanced. So I'll bring you back. Let me get on. NIYOLA, are you ready? Briefly before I bring on AUDU. So I'll bring you back, sir.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready? Okay, let me unmute you. Can you come on Instagram Live?
Okay.
Yeah, come on Instagram Live.
Where is it?
Casey, please, we are going to have to bring you up at some point here. So please stay on. I'm looking for artists that are online for us to invite them on this conversation. Okay. Are you here? NIYOLA, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, can you
yeah, I can hear you.
Can you put a comment?
Here. Yes.
All right.
I see your request now. Great.
Hi, NIYOLA, how are you? Can you hear me? I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you. NIYOLA, please kindly fix your phone. I'll bring you back. I don't know if you. So while we wait for NIYOLA to fix her phone, let me have Casey. Please, AUDU kindly. Okay, NIYOLA is back. AUDU, please kindly get ready because you need to fix a few things here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you better. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so you watched our conversation. You listened to our conversation the last time.
Yes.
And you've heard what OBI ASIKA has said. You've heard what You heard what AUDU has said. You heard what Rude Boy and Casey added to the conversation the last time. You're an artist, right? You don't own a record label right now. You've been signed to a record label. What do you think is the, what do you think, from an artist's point of view, what do you have to say with everything that has been said on this call?
A whole lot, to be honest. I think that everybody has made important and cogent points. First of all, I think that the most important thing that we have to understand is Nigeria is a very unique market. And if we had to compare how things are done outside of Nigeria here with this place, a lot of it, then it's already messed up from the get-go. Now, with every society, when a business model is created, it's created with the market in mind. Now, we can't necessarily say that our industry here has a system, and it's a systemic problem because it comes from the top. Like you were asking the other time, if maybe part of the problem was the legal, the legal arm. When you don't have a body that regulates the industry, you don't really have a body that would check if anybody did wrong, maybe the artist or the producer or even a label. You don't really have it. Sometimes there's certain injustices that would be done or would be perceived, and you'd feel like, and some artists would feel like there's nothing they can do, and then the resentment starts, and then they start to feel like, okay, I feel like this, and why are you not doing anything about it? And then they feel like the only avenue they have to get even is to go to the journalists. And now sometimes the journalists are already chatting whatever they're chatting. And so now it's like a case of you already wanting to explode, and then you find an avenue. Now, I'm not saying that this is right, but I feel like a lot of times, because of the way things are, things are in Nigeria, and I can speak from my experience and also like from things that I've seen. Sometimes labels want to use a particular model that has worked for artist A and use it for artist B, because I feel like a lot of people come into the music business not even understanding the premise of the industry in the first place. And now you have some artists who all they know how to do is just sing. They may not necessarily be songwriters. So if you come and say you signed this guy because you saw that this guy could sing, and then when you find that he could sing and the artist is trying to tell you that, okay, so this is what I need to do to develop myself as an artist, you don't leave the artist and say that it's your job for you to figure out everything. You may not have business acumen as an artist to build yourself to the point. That's why you have your record label. So your record label signs a 360 deal with you and then leaves you to figure everything else out. So when you go out there and by whatever means, whatever you have to do, figure something out, and then you come back and the label is acting like, we made you, we did this for you. Maybe they did because, they still put their money down and gave you the platform. But I'm just saying for you to understand why some people would think that you haven't done anything for me and I cannot accrue the success that I have to you. You understand what I'm saying? I had a 3-hour long conversation with someone today, and it was very intense. And I said, sometimes people don't want to see you beyond an artist. For instance, if you are an artist who has a brain, for instance, that functions, and people refuse to see you as an artist because just sing and shut up. If I'm an artist and I had a vision and I wanted to become something, and you saw that I wanted to become something, I came to you with my vision, or you came to me and I shared my vision with you and you said you were going to help me to get my vision to a place. And now you say that my vision is aligned with yours, or you can help me get where I need to go. Now, as we go along, how come I don't get to have a say in this vision that is mine? Because if I waste 5-6 years of my life, at the end of the day, is my life that has been wasted. You will go on. You count your losses. You lost money. Is my life. To you, it's just business, but to me, it's my life. And I'm saying it from an artist's point of view. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's how we feel. So I feel like artists need to find a way to understand. I'm sorry, labels need to find a way to understand where they're. Some labels would even sign an artist and they wouldn't know exactly why they signed the artist or what to do with the artist. And at the end of the day, they'll be like, okay, well, we invested in you. You didn't bring us money. What are we supposed to do? But did you put the resources in place to help me make the money that you needed to make? Do you understand what I'm saying? If I say that, okay, what is my strongest suit, for instance? My strongest suit is singing. But because I'm pretty and I'm good looking, you want to sell me as a good looking artist. Yeah, you should be able to do that. But it shouldn't be what you bring to the fore, because maybe singing is going to sell me more than my face, so that my face would be just a part of what you're using to sell me. But some labels will not listen to that because they feel like, what do you know? We're the business people. And then when it fails, it's your fault.
Okay, so
and then there's all that problem of you holding a lot of things back. Yeah.
This is a very, very key point you just made, right? And this is very, very, very important. Now, don't you think that as an artist, right? And it's good that you're actually saying this. This is a very, very, very brilliant conversation we're having. And I like that you said this. Do you think that as an artist, when you are reading your contract, you should also tell your label that, you see, this contract we're signing, I want to also have an input in terms of the kind of things that you do for me as a brand. You don't think that? Yeah, you don't think that should be?
To be honest, like I said when we started, right? We don't have a system, a legal system in Nigeria that there are a lot of things that you would like artists or labels would do and get away with, because by the time you think about the headache of even going to sue or going through the right and this is what I've heard people say. You'd be like, well, I would have lost time. I don't even want to go through that. Let me just leave it. You know what I mean? Which is why you say sometimes labels will pally up with artists and they'll be like brothers, and then they now then the artists start to take advantage of it. Most of the time it's because there's certain things that need to be done in Nigeria. I feel like, wait, let me answer.
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
Even if it's stipulated and stated clearly in the contract that you should have an input, I'm telling you that a lot of record labels go around treating artists like they're doing the artist a favor, and that's the first. I feel like that's where the first problem comes from. So it is a partnership, like you were saying to Babakeke the other time. It's a partnership. You're not doing me a favor, and I'm not doing you a favor. You have something I need, and I have something that you need, and we're coming together to create something. And that's what I realized, that first of all, most labels come with the mentality of like, I'm doing you a favor. But my talent is not something that you can even put money to or that you can buy. It's talent, it's intellectual property, you know. So if it's managed properly, there's no knowing what it could do, how much it could bring, you know. So it's an investment. It's just like if you're investing in a poultry. It could go well, it could go wrong. It's an investment. But when it comes to music or when it comes to artistry, people want to act like they're doing you a favor. And it's not nice, because at the end of the day, artists are creative people, and most of the time sensitive or emotional. Whether it's a good thing, whether it's not a bad thing, but this is probably what makes artists artists. And the people signing they're not able to understand that side. And this is probably where the lawyers should come in. Every artist should have a representative. And that brings me to another point. How many artists in Nigeria actually have managers who understand the job or the roles of a manager?
Okay, NIYOLA, let me get in there, right? What you just said right now is very important. Don't forget this. A lot of artists always want to appoint managers for themselves. Do you know that?
As they should.
Yeah. Now, when you are appointing somebody for yourself that you know fully well that has no knowledge of what the industry is, do you understand? That is one thing.
Right.
Okay. And the second thing is some artists don't think that they should take a manager from the label, believing that if I take a manager from the label, he'll be watching my everyday move and he'll be telling the label what I am doing or what I am saying. Right?
I don't think it has a lot to do with that. When I've had a manager before who worked for the label, but in that case, there's a conflict of interest because when I need you to speak for me, sometimes it would be against what the label wants. Whose side are you going to be on? And that was a major problem. Like there were times where there were things that I needed her to fight for, but she couldn't really fight. She understood, but she couldn't really fight because she's on their payroll. So it doesn't make sense. And then when I say, okay, you guys gave me a manager and you stipulated that I have a manager with you guys, it's a 360 deal. And then so when it comes to certain things, you'd be like, oh, you need to have a personal manager. I'm like, fine. Because at the end of the day, 20% of something is better than 100% of everything. And then I get a personal manager. And it still didn't make much of a difference because at the end of the day, it's all about your label understanding the things that you signed. And nobody really goes by what they really signed in Nigeria.
Okay, so
and that's
you're
the
saying
problem
that
is.
you're saying that the labels don't go by what they sign on the contract with a lot of artists. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because there's usually no plan. How many people, I know that there's some labels who do that in Nigeria, but they're far and few in between. But how many labels actually start at the beginning of a calendar year and say that this year, this is what we're going to do? You're going to have X amounts of songs. You're going to have X amount of videos. And this is the strategy. Everybody's just playing it by ear and just, what's the rollout plan? And then you want to compare with the people in the States, or you want to compare with the UK, or the people who actually have a system, who actually have a structure and a strategy. Because when you have a strategy, at least you would have thought about and calculated a possibility of it not working out how you project. And then that way you can make room for a situation where that occurs. But here, there's no such thing. It's like, let's just do it like this because that label, like you were saying, did it like that. Look at that artist is blowing. We have to make you blow like that artist. But you don't understand that there's a key component of that artist that is making that artist blow. And they need to find the unique thing about you too that will make you blow. But they're going to want to use this format for that artist. And it's not the same.
But NIYOLA, do you see
different artists from Adekunle Gold? Adekunle Gold is a different artist from Wizkid. And you can love all three of them the same.
All right. Do you also know that there are some artists that look at how other artists are big and they use that on their label saying that that artist is big and I am not big? And also, don't forget that there are artists that our industry, the structure is part of the reason why we're having this conversation, because we need to know where, because you just said something that a lot of labels don't listen to the artists when the artist brings their own suggestions in terms of how they can promote and do things, right? A lot of labels don't listen, which is true. I'll tell you something. That is true. There are times where we need to start having, as labels, we also need to start having the positions where a lot of labels need to start having positions where you sit down, you listen to the creative side. Okay, let me tell you for someone like Techno, right? When Techno comes, what Techno does is he says, Baba, I don't record this song, bro. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
I'll listen to the song, right? There are times where something happens. I say, you know what? Like this song, maybe no. I can't remember what song was. I was at Quilox when he sent me the song and said he wanted to drop the song. Yeah. And I said, the song he gave the song, he gave the song Palanga, and I said, I don't think Palanga was the right name for the song. And he asked me what I thought, right? And I gave it the name, right? I think, is it Duro? Yeah, Duro. Yeah. And he said, oh, he wanted the song. When he sent the song to me, I said, what's the song title? He said, Palanga. I said, Palanga, I don't think Palanga is the right title for the
Name.
song. So I not the right name for the song. I gave it Duro, and then I did up a flyer. I shared it with him. He said, okay, the flyer was nice, and we put out the song. And that night, the next day, the song became big. So the thing is I understand where you're coming from, and I'll tell you that it's also important with how things are changing for record labels to sit down with artists and have conversations with them, and be part of what the artist wants as an artist. How we can actually sit down and say, okay, you know what, okay, NIYOLA, we want to drop a song for you. Do you have the songs ready? You sit down, we look at the songs. I don't think this song fly. But you see the thing, I was having a conversation with MI on Instagram Live yesterday, and he said there are some songs that he never believed in, right?
Yeah.
But they became big songs. That's why conversations need to be had between an artist and the record label. So once you have that proper conversation and you go back and forth, there are times where you see, yeah, that, you know, and also don't forget that as an artist, you always never be right. As a record label as well, you always never be right. So that's why there needs to be that synergy where conversations are had. So I don't think there should be any label that will just wake up and just say, hey, this is what you must do, and you must do it. Do you understand?
I hear that, and that's also, and that's why it's also important. Like it's a whole lot of things, you know. Like I spoke about management. There's also the big issue of an artist being overwhelmed in Nigeria with everything. You're your own A&R, and a label exec should not be the one A&Ring a project, because you probably don't know the first thing about music or what is obtainable. But imagine you being an artist, you knowing your craft and your art, and there's somebody coming to tell you that, okay, let me use this as an example. But let me use this as a good example. And I don't mean this, you know, with any form of, there's no animosity whatsoever. When Oscar produced Tobad, when we did Tobad, it was a very unusual song, you know, and it was Banky who hired Oscar. Like, he's a great producer. He's also a writer. You know, he's he's worked in the States, Anyway, we created Tobad, and we had a whole, you know, bunch of other songs. And I knew in my heart that I wanted Tobad to be the single. But at the time, EME used to release two songs. We did EME Wednesdays. So there was Tobad and there was Crazy that Mastercraft did. And Banky didn't like Tobad for the life of me. He didn't like it. I loved Crazy, but I knew Tobad was different. And I knew that it was something that people would be able to relate to. And it was like, oh, Tobad has been used so many times. Tobad. I was like, but never in this context. You know, everybody says I love you, but on different songs, it's used in different ways. And I remember Banky said in these words, verbatim, he said, it's a good song, it's not a great song. And it really, really hurt me, because obviously as an artist, every song is like your child, you know. It hurt me, but Shegu loved the song, Sunday loved the song, and we went months and months and months, and I was just waiting, recording, looking for the song. And then one day Banky was just like, you know what? I like Tobad now. I remember vividly. I was in India. I had gone for a surgery, and I was in India for about 2 months. I was preparing to come back home, and then he hit me up and said, "I like Tobad now." I was like, "Oh my God!" So I came back. We released Tobad. Like 5 months after Tobad was released, people didn't really know it. We did the radio rounds, my manager and I, and then we did the video for Tobad. And it changed everything. I remember even the end parts, we argued a little bit about it. It was like, why does she have to go back? But Kemi was like, no. That is the most important part of the video. And guess what? When that video came out, it changed everything around. So sometimes you need to have the people in place, the right people in place, to know what to say. For instance, the A&R person, you have the person who, sometimes an artist is not necessarily a great songwriter. As the label, it should be your place to have these things. But in Nigeria, you're saddled with the responsibility of figuring out all these things by yourself. And for God's sakes, all you probably know how to do is only to sing. And you're supposed to grow as you go. And when you found out artists, you knew that this artist was just trying to help themselves. Like, I'm just trying to figure out what it is. I know I have a talent. What happened to artist development? Is it not the job of the label to develop this artist? And all of a sudden, you just want this money. How do you make this money if the artist doesn't grow? Wizkid is not the same person who sang "You're My Giddy Girl." He's not. He's grown. You know, and we can say this for, and I keep using the same people because that's what's at the back of my mind. Adekunle Gold is not, you know, like, he's grown in his artistry and everything. You know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, artists have a role to play, but most importantly, it's just like when you say father and child. Oh, this child this child misbehaves. You as a parent, you also have a role that you have to play in teaching the child, and then the child will imbibe all these things that you've taught the child. So I feel like the label has a lot of work to do.
NIYOLA, I really like how you I really like from the angle you've come in with the record labels, right? But I wanted to correct something you just said, right? You see, in terms of artists dropping songs, do you know there are times where an artist will drop a song that they don't, okay, let me tell you this. Iyanya never believed in Kukere. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I know that.
Do you understand? He never believed in Kukere. Do you understand? And the songs that Iyanya believed in, I didn't believe in them. Do you understand?
Because an artist will always be biased. We will always be biased.
Wizkid, when after Wizkid recorded "Sexy Mama" in the studio, when Wizkid left, Wizkid called and said he didn't like the song, that maybe they should do a different song. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you see, that is how it is. That's why it's him. And I told him, I said, listen, I think I like this "Sexy Mama." Let's convince Wizkid for us to drop the song because the album was ready. It's the same thing like Mr. Oreo, right? At the time we dropped Mr. Oreo, we felt like we dropped Mr. Oreo too early. You understand? But I told him, I said, let this Mr. Oreo come on the Made Men Music album. And there are songs that have become big that I didn't believe in. And I'll say, no, let's put it. Like, baby, this your booty, I confirm. I said, that song, Le Kwaku. You see, Le Kwaku is one song that I said, man, this song, it's kind of slow, the tempo. But I said, no, Ubi, I think I believe in this song. Let's push it. And we shot a good video for it. So you need to understand that, like I was just said, music is a conversation of both parties.
Yeah, like
you understand? And it would be very unfair for a record label not to listen to the artist and for the artist not to listen to the record label. Because if there are proper conversations between the both parties, the marriage will be perfect. You understand?
Exactly. So they're both gunning for the same thing.
Yeah, so that's right. Okay, NIYOLA, I need to bring on somebody else because we're going to continue having this conversation until we get the right thing for our industry. Please just stay on. AUDU, please, you need to come before I bring on Casey. I don't know who else is on the line. Let me see. AUDU, I'm going to. This is for you. I'm not going to say a word anymore. You've allowed me to go through. You see, Kenny's was, bro. Listen, I can't stop laughing.
That's the final boss now. You know, when Keke talks,
you know, he was giving us as hot as possible. So you've listened to OBI ASIKA speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, every time I listen to OBI speak, I always feel like we don't appreciate what we have in OBI ASIKA in the Nigerian entertainment industry. You know, the guy, he knows a lot. Every time I listen to, let me tell you this, right? I know Kenny is watching. There's a day Kenny wanted to see me, and see Iyanya. Okay. And I said, sir, where are you? We'll come and meet. He said, no, I'm coming to your house. Do you know that day I called my mom? I said, Mommy, can you imagine the man that is the man I look up to every day? He said he's coming to my house. You know how you tell someone, Baba, I'll come meet you. He said, no, I'm coming to your house. You see, for me, that day was like, wow, so you've actually worked this hard for somebody that is at the level of Kenny to come to your house. You know, he came to the house, we sat down, we were playing music, and I was happy. So having to have these people speak very, very important conversations like this is very, very important. How do you listen to Kenny speak? You've listened to NIYOLA speak. You've listened to OBI ASIKA. I want you to, put everything in perspective before we bring on Casey, because I'm sure Casey has something to say also from an artist point, because he's seen an artist come, he's seen a label coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think this panel is, just brilliant people. First of all, OBI ASIKA is a frigging legend, right? He's vast in all sorts of levels. Because if you think about it, remember he's a lawyer. Many people forget that he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
Obi also was a DJ at a point in time. And I recall one time when they're about to launch Nizo C's album, and I met up with him, I think in 2008 or 9, in his house in Ikoyi. There's this house he had in Ikoyi before he moved, I think. And he was playing me some stuff from the Banj and from John Jazzy and stuff. And then I was seeing his DJ set. And I used to be a DJ. So it makes sense. Lawyer, DJ, right? And then he has done TV, he has done content. So when he talks from a really global perspective, right? And the key thing that Obi said, which is really important, is the need for us to look at this as a business and look at the resources that we have locally that can change our business. And I think for me, the highlight is around the ABBA model. Think about it. Ubi, you talked to Ogwa, right? Ogwa
yes.
Online, right? I don't know if she shared with you, but when I had a talk with her, she blew my mind. She was talking about how in Abba there's a shop that can do 3,000 pieces of clothing a day in Abba. It's a chop shop. Now imagine that same level of technology being deployed to do merchandise. So we're talking about the ancillary things you need to do in the music business to create money. Second issue that came up was around artists blowing and becoming too big for the label. The reason why they're too big for the label is that the label isn't making enough money from what they're selling. Their principal job is to sell music. They're not selling enough. Now, even for the best labels here, the truth is that your sales are coming from the UK and the US. So in fact, you're not addressing the local market. So we're doing the same thing we do with crude oil, which I spoke about before. You find the raw talent here. You refine crude oil. You take crude oil from here. You refine outside. Then you import it back to Nigeria and you sell to us at an expensive cost. So think about it this way. If you have an Apple subscription, you're paying $10 a month. That's 4,000 Naira a month, right? Meanwhile, you could have a local version that's 400 Naira a month. And you have many more subscribers. So it's a volume game. So we have not used our local resources. Now, when Kenny spoke, we know how Kenny is a man I revere so much. Not because of, not forget the fact that they're the pioneers. Anybody can be a pioneer. But it's the fact that, like you said, the humility, the wisdom, right? And the genuine concern for people, I think very few people have it. And you can hear, this guy has 80 albums. I've said this many times before, and he confirmed it today. I said, with all due respect to all the labels, no label has done what Kenny's music has done. None. That's the truth about it. When you think about the artists that they brought in, the numbers, the risk that they took, it's amazing. And what did he say? He said, at the end of the day, it's the function of us being very professional with how we do our business. So I'll say that for on that side, we need to have better lawyers. Some guy walks up to me and says, "Oh, he got a lawyer," and the lawyer has never seen a recording contract in his life. He assumes it's the same thing as a building contract, as a supply contract. Yes. So please don't go to a dentist for an eye problem, right? That's foolishness. There are people that specialize in stuff. There are entertainment lawyers, there are organizations of entertainment lawyers. And one of them, I'm not very cheap, but I can become cheap because Ubi is my guy. So I can give you a discount because of Ubi. But there are a bunch of us, there are a bunch of us that can actually do stuff for you. So you need that. Now, going back to what NIYOLA said, NIYOLA came from the artist perspective. And I think that's very, very important because for a while, it seemed like record labels bashing artists. But I'm glad that when Casey comes, Casey is going to give us two sides. Casey has been an artist, and he's a pioneer artist, by the way, and he has been able to, keep on reinventing himself and has created a really amazing, not just the music, but even in terms of label. Now with NIYOLA's complaint is this: one, it's not a one size fits all. It's not a one size fits all. So you cannot sell Kokere. You cannot sell Kokere Ubi the same way you're going to sell GT the guitar boy. Remember GT the guitar guy?
Yeah,
he's a different artist altogether. You can't ask him, or you cannot do that with Femi Kuti or Sheun Kuti. It's different. So you need to understand that, and therefore there's a need to create the A&Ring department of a label. Now, for the artist, the biggest issue here is that I think it's a joint project. And I'll give you a simple example. When I started working with MI, and MI put out Safe, I remember the day he brought Safe to my office, it was 5 minutes, 21 seconds. I'm like, man, guy, you cannot release a song that's 5 minutes, 21 seconds. It's too long. And the radios will not play it. And how are you even going to do the videos, you know? So we sat down in the office. I remember that day very well. Like, look, AUDU, this song's going to be crazy. Trust me. I said, I hear it. It's not the typical commercial thing. I love the freestyle flow, but I don't know. But I thought about it. Like, you know what? Take a chance. Because sometimes it has to be, it doesn't always have to be what I agree with. And that's something that labels and A&Rs must know. And you must have an ear for music. And Safe did what it did. Another great example with Brimo, we had 2 singles ready. We had Ara and we had Good Morning. Production-wise, for me, I like Good Morning. I thought Good Morning should come out first, and I thought Ara should follow up because Ara was faster. The whole team liked Ara, and they overruled me. So I said, no problem, you guys go ahead and put Ara. And it was the right call. But there have also been singles that they've released that I told the artists, this thing no go work. And it failed. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's a conversation. But what is key, however, is this. Artists, if you're not happy with your relationship, leave. But leave properly. Follow the process and leave. That's, for me, that's my personal view. That you have the right to leave, but just leave formally. Because you see, when you leave properly and the documents are signed, it's not hard for me to go to a bank to give me money to do the next artist, right? True story. In 2013, I was in the middle of a multi-million-dollar investment in my company. And then I had the crisis with Brimo, right? Then I had, and because of that, I had some issues. I think, and with, Jesse's contract had expired. But there's some things that were going on internally there. And the investor said, well, the way artists keep leaving labels, how do we know that this investment will be secured?
Very important.
So it was a multi-million-dollar investment, no bullshit. And it was a very difficult time for me because I had to, and then, Kenny said something about how the press reacts. It's wrong. Recently, the press came out, oh, Emma has left Chocolate City. They don't, Emma is the director of the damn company, he has shares in the company. He's not leaving anywhere. He's doing something different from Choc Boys. But the sensational news that he has left Chocolate City. But that's why labels also have to court publicity. The problem for most labels that we're saying, I bet we don't want to be talking too much. You guys just relax. We don't need that back and forth. But to round up, I'll say that what NIYOLA has said in terms of the conversation and creative control. If you remember, Black Bones mentioned that as well. Creative control. And I think that we're in a situation whereby, as Jay-Z would say, the streets are A&Ring this, right? The streets are A&Ring it. And what's the streets? Trello, it's Twitter, it's Facebook. You put out a song, people say, oh, fire, nice one. And then the technical guys are listening and saying, I don't know if this song is that great. So you have to make a call. Thank God with data and metrics and some of the tools, you can get a sense of where a song is going to. Yeah. There's a guy I'm bringing in tomorrow, and if you guys tune in, I'm bringing somebody from YouTube Music, and he's talking about how they're using technology to curate and see what is the next big song, so that the guesswork has been reduced a bit, and you can use tools to find out how best to promote the music. So that's my summary, that's my wrap up. But it's been very exciting, great conversations, really explosive as well. So
I'm going to bring you back, right?
Yeah, sure.
Let me get Casey on.
Sure.
Because Casey needs to come and talk from both sides, like you said.
All right.
Where's Casey? All right, Casey's there.
Yo.
Emperor
OBI. Mr. OBI. Great job you're doing, though.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
You know, you've been here. You've heard everything.
Yeah.
OBI ASIKA said. You've heard everything NIYOLA said.
Yeah.
You've heard everything Baba Keke Kenny's Music said.
Yeah.
And you've also heard what
AUDU said.
The summary I would just.
Yeah.
You see, you're here as an artist from both, as an artist and a record label, right?
Yeah.
You've been in the position where you were signed to Kenny's Music.
Yeah.
So you've been signed as an artist to a record label. So you were signed to Kenny's Music.
Yeah.
And thank God, your former boss, right? And still our world boss.
Yeah.
He's watching you. So whatever you say, we will know whether you are lying
Of
or you
course.
your contract.
Of course.
Haven't been signed to Kenny's Music.
Yeah.
And now getting to a point where you own your own record label. Yeah. Haven't been signed to Kenny's Music and going to a point where you own your own record label, right? And now as an artist, what can you say about the conversations we've been having so far?
Yeah, well, thank you, Ubi. I think I'm interested about this topic. That's why I'm here again. After the last time we spoke, you told me we're going to do this today, and I tuned in. I've listened from the top till this point, and I think I'll start from what the boss, OBI ASIKA, said. And AUDU also, great job and great statement, and he's been part of this. And I think everybody here is trying to put hands together to find a headway to the industry. So for me, I think from what OBI ASIKA said, he's a boss, and I think when he came into the industry, I saw him when he came in. You know, he came in with so much swag from Uptown. You know, they changed the game, added some more flavor to it. From where Baba Keke started from, he came from Los Angeles, prime time on AIT. You know, all these juices, they added it into the industry. Before then, my father was signing them local artists in Ajegule because he was a record label owner, also local way. You know, so there's this experience coming. You know, my father almost got to sign Junior and Pretty at some point. You know what I mean? So now, what Obi said, I think I'll take it from, I think Polo is here. Polo is watching up front. I think there was a day I was in his office in 2013, and Polo was talking to Wizkid about merchandising. Like, hey, bro, I think Wizkid is a household name. I think you need to do a school bag with water bottle and feeding, you know, and blah, 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 and put it in the market. And this will go haywire. But trust me, with due respect, I was expecting to see that. I didn't see it. It didn't happen. Why? I don't know. Merchandising is something that can give us a lot of money away from music. But I think one big challenge we have in trying to merchandise in Nigeria, don't forget that the people you're selling this thing to, you need to groom their mind. You need to upgrade their mindset. We have tried to sell our music to them. They've accepted it. It's another job. It's a different ball game to sell merchandising to these same people. Most of them believe in wearing Puff Daddy. They want to wear Gucci. Some of us have invested a lot of money into merchandising. It failed. All right? I'm being honest to you. Now, the mindset of our people is totally different. Sometimes some of them want to get the foreign stuff. They were doing that with the music. We changed it. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's very possible. But while we're trying to merchandise and sell to them in large numbers, we need to work on their mind.
Just 1 minute. 1 minute. I need to say something before you continue. I just saw DAREY at ALADE. DAREY, please, I would like you to come on after Casey, please. DAREY, please.
Okay. So I think we need to work on the people so that they can also appreciate. I remember when when Fino released his song Alabama, the Abba Boys pirated the Alabama t-shirt. And it went like a wire in the East. Everybody was wearing it. They made so much money. Fino didn't make a dime. Now, if a Fino wants to merchandise, a Fino will leave that market and try to look at the upscale markets, for instance, that will not be interested in buying that product. And it will make him look like, okay, he's trying to drop his standard from where he is. Do you get it? And by then, you have lost the attention and the audience of the people that you can hit that will give you the numbers. So we need to look at these things. Yeah, because I did some merchandising and I was looking at those top people. Why the people down there can buy you 2 million in 1 week? because they go crazy about you. The people you're looking at, they have money, they travel every week, every month, they want to buy abroad. So that's for that. From the point I just want to make from what OBI ASIKA said about merchandising, we need it like now, because it will fly like now. But we need to, like my friend in Tanzania, Diamond. I was in Tanzania. Diamond is selling chin chin, selling diesel. He's making loads of money out of that. They understand they need to support their brand. They are buying it, and he's making loads of money. Now he has a radio station, he has a TV station, he has this. How many Nigerian artists has a radio or a TV station? We don't. We don't look at those business angles. So we need to start looking into that. That's that. Then secondly, from when Baba Keke came in, I think he has a lot of points. Some of us worked under him, and I was privileged to work under him. I worked with him for about 4 years. After my first contract, he retained me and Presh, and we stayed there for a while. Trust me, I said it the last time he wasn't here. I said then, we as artists, we used to gossip like say these people just they sell our music, they don't want to give us money. They sell our music, they don't want to pay us. And sometimes Keke would take somebody like me. I've been privileged. Keke took me to Ajawa Estate and showed me the heaps of CDs of every artist. You see where on a CD day. And some of us will still doubt. We'll still say, the one way they show us, maybe the one way they sell. Now, we did all those things. And at some point, we moved on. We stepped up. And when I got into the next level of being my own record label owner, I now understood, okay, sometimes these are imaginations. Artists we over-expect. When we are writing these songs, when we're composing this song, we believe that, boom, as we release it, everybody is buying it. The whole world is eating the song. We are making money. But we don't know what goes down. These record label owners spend a lot of money. They use their connections. They use their contacts to promote and project you. All right? So when we do all that, we forget it. 10%, like Baba Keke said, was what I said here the last time. Like, what you need in an artist's talent is just like 10%. Highest 20%. Talent or knowledge about music is just 10-20%. You can package anybody that have 10% idea to become anything. So artists need to understand that, yes, they are bringing the talent on board. The record label is also bringing the resources you don't have on board. And by the time you merge these two forces together, you can get a great result. Now, when it comes to sharing the revenue, I think the artists should always remember that these guys invested in this, because artists, we forget when we see the red carpets on all the shows, all the ovation, you know, when it says success comes with so many friends and enemies. When it comes with people that were not there when you were going through that stress and struggle with your label, they start putting in words in your head. You can do it on your own. You are making all the money. They are just at home, relaxing. They are not just at home. They've done their work. It's time for you to do the road work, which is getting the money. Go do the shows. You don't expect Baba Keke to follow you to all the shows, to be following you about, or OBI ASIKA to be following you about. No. So at that time, artists would start feeling, saying, they house now, they rest. He's just at home and I'm traveling. No, they've done their part. So artists should also remember that when they start balling, when they are doing their own job, which is going to do those shows and make those money, remember that they've done their own job. That's why the people can see you. Okay? And another thing Baba Keke said that I will not forget is when you talk about contracts, Ubi, you were saying something about the lawyers. Me, I don't think I'll blame any lawyer. Like I said the last time, these lawyers is their business, is their office. If you tell a lawyer to come and defend you that you stole this thing and you want him to defend you that he didn't steal it, he will collect the contract and go and try his luck if he will win the case. Sometimes they win the case. The lawyers are here. So I don't blame the lawyers. Now, what I want artists and labels should know is we are created in different ways. You see, this right here is different for everybody. Our understanding and the way we communicate with everybody is different. So first of all, artists and label owners, the first thing that binds us should be the contract. The contract. Now, I'll tell you where my experience, where I have problem when it comes to contract. The people which are our fans, our consumers, our godfathers, they don't respect contracts, because when an artist breaks out of a contract, first we'll have a problem. The media, they always want the negative news. So first of all, they want to sell the negative part of it. Now, some of them will take side already. They either want to work with the artists, DJs will do their own. They will tell the artist, don't worry, now we're going to play your song. He gets energy and get momentum from people that are supposed to be, fair to the whole situation. Now, when he gets pity from those people, he becomes more confident. Now, you see, I had issues of, you see some godfathers calling you, nah, leave that thing now, you are bigger than that. You are bigger than that. How can you be taking this small boy to court? You can't be fighting. God has blessed you. Were you there when I bought car for him? Were you there when I gave money to shoot videos in London, in here, So I think the people need to help us also in trying to find a solution to this. When you hear a record label is fighting with an artist, as a press man, as a fan, before you take side, can you just ask to see what the contract is saying, to know the truth? So that is that. I think even the fans and the media need to work with us. No, I don't even want to talk to the lawyers, because lawyers will always collect their job. I think the fans and the audience and the families, they need to always say the truth. That is that. And NIYOLA, God bless her for what she said, because I'm going to be honest, she brought a very strong point as an artist, and I must respect that. Sometimes the labels also get too bossy, too carried away, because they spend the money and they put a lot of instructions and laws that sometimes you ask yourself if you are in prison, or are you here to do partnership, or to, understand? So I think she brought a point out there, which I think need to be trashed immediately when it comes to artists. And if you're, I said this on one live video yesterday, some people just make money from one business or the other. They want to invest into music business. UBI, my oga them are here. OBI ASIKA is here. Ken is here. AUDU is here. Please, I would like to know, what is the criteria of setting up a record label in Nigeria? What are the criteria? What are those things that needs to be done? Is because every artist that fights their label, in the morning, they open up another label with another name. Imagine if a brand like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, I'm sorry, I'm calling a name, want to set up a product. You need to go through so many bodies in Nigeria to say, okay, to register this, you need to have, your factory need to be like this, your this need to be like this, you need to have this number, you need to, if we have something like that before you register a label, trust me, no, not everybody will just wake up and say, I want to go and register a label. And these artists will understand that if they leave their label, it may be to be difficult to get another label. Maybe they will also understand that, hey, this is a lifeline I need to manage very well. And they will be strict and serious and be dedicated to their contracts. All right. So it's a whole lot of conversation. And for me, I think I appreciate. Yeah.
I really, every time you speak, it makes me understand that, you know a lot about what you've been doing. You can imagine your dad signing artists. So you've been in the artist signing game for years.
Of course.
Like AUDU just said that the criteria for signing an artist is, it is my time to shine. So
that's the problem.
So, these conversations we're having, we're going to keep having different parts of the music industry conversation. And your input as someone who has been in the industry for years, right, will be much needed.
No
I want to bring on
DAREY.
I want to bring on DAREY.
Yeah.
I like DAREY to come and contribute some, because DAREY's father was doing the same thing, and DAREY came on and took it over. And so he will have he will have a lot of knowledge in terms of what the conversations we're having. So let me bring him in.
No problem.
Right.
I'm here. I'm listening.
All right.
God bless you, bro.
see. I think it's a Darey. Where's Darey? Okay. Wow, Casey. Boss.
Big man.
your comments have been very funny. I think you and AUDU just find a way to get at yourself. Welcome to the show, bro.
Bro, thanks, man. Well done with everything. AUDU, OBI, Baba Keke, NIYOLA, Casey, everybody, man, at the hill it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
So you've heard everything they've been saying. I want you to just quickly, because we want to keep addressing these issues until we're able to fix our entertainment industry, which is very, very important.
They've touched everything, unless you have a specific honestly, the experiences are too many, and let it not be like a request show or flashback memory. You understand? There's too many. Otherwise, the talk go too long. You understand? Let's be specific on what is possible. You understand?
Okay, you've experienced the industry from an artist's point of view and from a record label point of view. The conversation that NIYOLA has come in with our own side, which is very, very, very a very strong point, and I hold it very dear. I want you to come in from a record label point of view and an artist point of view. What you think are the issues that we're faced with as an industry, and what do you think are the best things that we can do to actually change something?
You know, the honest truth would be everybody's correct. You know, everybody's right. Everybody's opinion matters. Everybody's experience is very valid because they've been there and they've done that. You know, Baba Keke has said it as it is, and he didn't lie. You know, I've never heard him talk like this ever. You understand? No cap. You understand? He has never, as long as I've known him, and that's a long time, and I think everybody can attest to that. And to touch on what he said, really from a label perspective or even a management perspective, whatever you put in, you understand, emotions aside, very underline it, no emotions, is you have to recoup on your investment. In any business, that's the first thing you ought to do, okay? If you are able to recoup and we are friendly and things are happening, no problem. It's a great relationship. You've been there. Even you know what we're talking about, you know. And where it becomes difficult is if the music does not sell, if the artist doesn't become successful, if it just feels like you have put money into a never-ending well, a bottomless pit, you know, at some point you wake up and you end the agreement. Now, when you end the agreement, you end it that the artist can, since this thing is not working, well, just pause, you understand? But you will never let that artist go because your money is still hanging. You understand? So you've seen different scenarios where now fights, now litigation straight. If you don't get the enter court tomorrow, now one threat or the other, you understand? What does that one bring? It doesn't really solve any problem. But you know, emotionally now, you have to hold on to that issue at hand and say, look, until death do us part, you must find a way and cough up this money. You now start to plus the one that is true, plus the one that is bogus, plus the champagne that you drank in the club one day that you don't remember. You understand? All the turn up, all the birthday cake, different things. You can name it. Even the one we know happened, they go list everything for you. You understand? And to be fair, it is what it is. You understand? If you put it in, you want to get it out. Now, when you put it in, the question is, did you put it in the right way? You know, it's a gamble. A lot of things you try it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You know, promotions, marketing, advertising, the music. Okay, change from one producer to the other, hire songwriters. You know, the list of expenses is endless. Talk less of renting house or cars and things like that. So I understand it's obvious to see, you know, but I think where it's an expensive venture where if you're not careful with the way you spend it, you know, you will run into trouble.
You know, if there's a smart way to spend it and you know, cut costs, you know, as much as you can, you limit your exposure, you know, and that way you can maximize whatever comes in, you know, especially when the artist is not really bringing anything in. If the artist is bringing stuff in, hopefully you have the great machinery, which is that question that Casey was asking, that what is it that the label is actually bringing? What does it take to actually kick off? Am I right? You know, in terms of recapping his question, what does it take to start it up? It's not just CAC certificates, you know, and you call some of your friends and you say, you know, may we sign this board paperwork. You know,
I'll just say this: by time, the criteria is by time to shine.
You can call it, you can come up with all sorts of, you know, reasons for putting it together, but the real resources and experience you are bringing to bear is your network. You understand? From legal to production to songwriters to A&R to your network in the business, the industry. That's something that your artist can never pay for. You understand? From the kind of meetings, the exposure you give the artist, platforms, festivals, concerts, all those things. That's stuff that that day when they bring the contract, say you don't mess this contract up. Now there you go, begin, they see all the different things that they'll cost for, you know. So it's understandable. I can relate to that. I've been there, we've seen it, you know, but it's tough. Now, if the record label was able to spend, you know, the actual cash or the actual investment, if they were able to spend it in a very, you know, in a smarter way, you know, then maybe they will reduce exposure. Then for the artists, you know, it's also difficult because it's it's one of those things. I made a comment there. I said people can hail you to poverty if you're not careful. As an artist, you get carried away. You are making the money, you are popular. If you are not able to invest it either in yourself or even in the people that invested in you, you know, realizing that this thing is a two-way street. You know, you can't think you've made it, you've arrived, then you jump ship and go to another. You know, you've got to try and see certain things through, but sometimes it's easier said than done. You know, the artist may not be mature enough, the artist may not be, you know, educated in terms of the business, you know, and all that, may not be surrounding him or herself with the right people, you know, to really know the ins and outs of this thing that they're doing. There for them is just, let me get on stage and kill the show, you know, let me get in the studio and record. So not every artist is ready for show business. Some just for show. Just like you have artists that are great at writing and recording, and you have some that are better at live performance, you know. So it's tough. The market is also makes it tough, where Afro pop dance, you know, lamba, you know, the the lamba music, you know, is what is pop, you know, that's what's popping. But is it really the one that puts food on the table, that makes the money? It makes the hype, you know, but does it actually make the money? We can now see other artists, other genres of performers springing up, you know, huge following. It may not be as big as the other ones, but they're also making a mark, and they're being able to feed. So despite everything that has been said, there's really been growth. We mustn't lose focus on, you know, what we've been able to achieve. I think we mustn't forget that at all. Over the last 15 years at least, you know, the rapid rise in African music, Nigerian music, we're getting something right, at least from the writing perspective, the arrangements, the production, and all that. What's remaining now is how we can consolidate the structures. How can we fight piracy? You know, Obi was saying earlier on, he said, look, until there's proper, if there's a way to have a protected pipeline, you know, a secure pipeline, you know, so if you had guaranteed 200 stores or 200 physical locations across the country, that you know that you can get authentic anything African and Nigerian entertainment. Let's not say just music, from merchandise to the actual music to anything, you know, paraphernalia, etc., authentic. You know that, okay, if I get my stuff to these 200 stores, I can make my X amount of money back. Let's forget about piracy. That one will continue, you know. But if we're able to create a secure parallel market, maybe, you know. And how do we do that? Maybe certain people need to come together. That has also been a problem over the years. Different associations, different groups, you know, all these things where we did talk. So, you know, it's just, and I said earlier, I said there's no easy solution, you know, but I think we have to keep trying. These conversations have to continue, you know, and we'll see how. Because why each artist no get registration number? Why?
Right?
You understand? Why? What's the big deal? Have a registration number, have some kind of body that at least, you know, every year you have insurance. If at least I know that, okay, HMO day for me as an artist, I can go, even if that's the least I am able to, something that gives me a sense of belonging, that protects my rights or my interest or whatever. You know, to collect money itself is a problem. Rights, association, collection, royalty, all those things are perennial issues that we keep facing. Everybody knows it. But why can't we have, you can have a registration number as an entertainment executive, you understand, or whatever your case is, or your standing is, you know, in the industry. Now, to what end? That's the question. Where do we harness everything to say, okay, these are your benefits for being? Does it have to be under a particular umbrella? Does it have to have one name? That's, you know, those are the things where you start saying everybody wants to have their own, wants to be on their own. Nobody wants to be under one particular umbrella for sake of, I don't know, whatever it is. So we've tried it over the years. We've seen these things. So where's the solution?
All right. So I'm really happy that you came on with this, your contribution. But you see, there's things that are very, very important. And today the conversations are balancing up properly so that we can know, you know, it's like a father not knowing where he has gone wrong, you know, and then his kids always complain, but the man thinks that because I'm a father, there's nothing you can do. But you see, I'd like to bring back, there's a question I'm going to ask, but I'd like to bring back Obi and Kenny for us to end this today's session. Then we'll continue again on Saturday on when an artist contract expires, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? When an artist contract expires and he has not made money for the label, is it advisable to renew? Or when an artist gets 5 years contract, for example, and 2 years to the end of his contract, he now becomes big, right? Is it advisable to renew the contract and recoup your investment before you let the artist go? So I'll bring in, I want you to touch a little bit on that, right? But I'd like to bring in Obi and Kenny to also ponder on that very well, because it's a very, very important question. You know, that's where the problem is.
They're going to get different answers from different people.
No, that's what we want, because that's what the problem is. You know, there are artists that left their record labels when they were in the last year of their contract. And that's, okay, for example, their contract expires December 31st, and they blew December 25th, or let's say they blew December 20th of the last year.
Yeah.
So then the coming year, their contract is expiring in the next 1 year. And once they become big, their contract expires, they go. And the label cannot recoup their money. So do we do it where before you go, you pay back the money that you owe, or even if you have to go, the monies you have for the songs you are performing that are from the record label, you pay us, or the streaming revenue you pay until you are able to, because we have another 25 minutes to round up this conversation.
Yeah.
So I want you to quickly just say what you think about it, so I can bring in Obi quickly.
It's really down to the contract, you know, what all the parties can agree to, and the structure. You know, it may be renewal, that's the way to go. It may be, okay, we'll let you go, but, you know, for the next XYZ years, we're still tied in, you know, revenue off of certain other elements to be able to recoup. That's a sit down at the table whether it's lawyers, arbitrators, whatever, you know, and if it's a family affair that you guys have an arrangement, no problem, sit down. You have to have some kind of mutual agreement. Otherwise, if the label goes hard and says contracts based on paperwork, we no agree, they have their own right as well, because they'll say, okay, it's a 5-year contract, you've done 4, you have 1 year to go, we've not made anything, you know, we stick by our guns. So but the real practical solution is to sit down at that point, at that juncture, and say, look, this is what we've made so far. Whether it's true or not, you can figure out the accounting side of it, you know. But from the beginning, which will affect this ending, is how transparent both sides have been through that relationship.
Okay, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I'll bring on OBI ASIKA now, because I like him to, and this is because people believe that this is a very important question, because that's what the main problem is. Thank you so much, Darey. I really appreciate it.
Nice one.
Thank you. Let's have OB, and then we'll end today with Baba Kenny. Where's OB ASIKA? Okay. Hi, bro. Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, man. It's a heavy session you had today, man.
I know, right? So
yeah, Kenny was incredible. I just need to say that, man.
Thank you so much. Before we go, I know we have another of this session on Saturday, and I would love to have you back. I'd love to have Barakeke back. I would love to have everybody back, because this is a continuous conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
So the biggest problem right now is when an artist is leaving the record, when an artist blows at the end of their contract and they leave, that's where a lot of labels actually have a problem. Some artists don't leave their contracts without, they don't break their contract. Some artists actually leave because they blew a year before the end of their contract. So with that being said, do you think that contracts should be like, whatever I'm spending for you is like an advance, the same way international record labels do? Do you think that is what we should imbibe in our industry?
I think the truth of the matter, like KK said, is that labels here, and you know, artists who have gone on to form labels have found out the hard way that labels here have been incredibly generous to artists, right? Because we are emotional people and we get close to the artists and we just invest and support. Because also, no matter what KK says, if he wasn't a fan of the music, he wouldn't even have set up Kenneth's music, right? So even though he's a boss and he's the chairman and he's the legend, did 80 albums, he told you, I have to like the song for the song to come out, right? He's put the investment down to create that opportunity. So yes, the recoup is critical. That's the business side of the that's why it's called the record business. That's why it's not amateur night at the Apollo. That's why it's not you and your friend, right? That's why you're on MTV, not on your mobile phone. Do you understand? There's a difference between the guy singing in the hotel bar and the guy who's selling tickets at the stadium. You know, that's the difference between a talented singer. He could even be a better singer but he's not a superstar. You know, that's the key thing. That's why KK said that it's only 10% is the singing. To be a superstar, you're a force of nature. So yes, you want to recoup as a label, but the truth of the matter is, I would say it's maybe in the last 5 to 7 years that labels could even possibly have begun to make any money in terms of recouping, right? And that's primarily because of digital, because before that, we were all basically victims and hostages of ALADE and AUDU.
Yeah.
So we didn't have income. The revenue streams, publishing, mechanical, live, all these things that you have from your international rights, they didn't aggregate, yeah? The streams you're seeing now for Nigerian music, it didn't exist in 2007. in 2008. I remember when Facebook started, right? You remember MySpace, right? So exactly. So the situation, I think, is that it all comes down to one thing. It's about integrity between the label and the artist. No matter whether you bring a bank or a regulatory body, that's actually the single thing: integrity. And then transparency, in the sense that this is 2020, right? You can see everything.
Yes.
You can see all your analytics. You can see the data board. You can see the dashboard. Even the most emotional artists can work out the investment made into them, right? Whether it's videos, whether it's promotion, whether it's servicing, right? And I think the points NIYOLA made are very important about how an artist works with the right creative team, about how they are involved in A&R, right? Because those are the things that create the separation, right? And maybe what we're talking about is that there are not many labels out there right now with the sophistication and the level of management and A&R, right, to really give the support to the artists. Do you understand? I think there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent, right? I hear everybody talking about structure. I hear everybody talking about, you know, somebody's going to come and solve it for us. Nobody's going to come. It's our issue. It's our market. And the truth of the matter is, as DAREY said, we've come a long way. I mean, it wasn't even a conversation 20 years ago. We were being told we're crazy for even talking about these things, right? These things were not supposed to be a real industry, a real possibility for anybody who was Nigerian. That wasn't supposed to be that, right? But guess what? The biggest artists from Africa are Nigerian. And they have been for the last 15 years. And like DAREY says, and everybody knows, it didn't happen by accident, but it is something that we can improve. And I think what we can improve is the monetization of our domestic market. I think that's because guess what? If you improve the monetization of your domestic market, Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, you won't be seeing them on Instagram abroad. Because to book them abroad, you're gonna have to pay a premium more than the Nigerian is prepared to pay for them in Nigeria. And I believe their biggest market is in Nigeria. Do you understand? Even as big as the global market is, you know, if you monetize Lagos effectively, the 20 million people in Lagos, let's not even go to the two deal with the 20 million in Lagos, right? Everybody's okay. That's what I
like
believe.
Almost the population of Ghana.
That's the population of many countries.
Yeah, many countries, yeah.
Belgium, Holland, go to all these places. I mean, you know, Lagos, I think, is in the top 5 economies in Africa.
Yeah.
That is bigger than 50 countries. So, you know, let's take it for what it is, right? So that's why I'm saying that our biggest opportunity is ahead of us. That's what I think. I think the biggest opportunity for Nigerian entertainment, for Nigerian music, is still to be seen. So somebody will work out. We have to build that gap between, you know, Aba, Alaba, Idumota, you know, that Nollywood and the music industry have. We have to find a way to close that gap. So we have some people that know how to sell products, right? We can see them selling products every day. And then we know how to create content. So we need to find a way to share assets and share money. That's what intelligent people do. Intelligent people don't cheat themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Nigerians are too intelligent to keep cheating themselves. Because nobody else is being cheated, right? If you're pirating P Square or Wizkid, right, you're not cheating any foreigner. You're cheating yourself, right? Yeah. So I think it's a mind shift thing. And we can't be talking down to each other. We have to be able to stretch the hand and say, hey, listen, Chief, I beg, this thing where now they sell, can you please, is there a way we can talk?
Yeah.
You know, you guys are selling, I can see you guys selling products every day. Can you sell a little bit of mine? How can we do business? You know, it should not be impossible when we look at how our country is structured. So if you look at it that way, that's why I say that as much as iTunes and Spotify and YouTube are massive, and online is driving everything, we know that only I don't know what percentage of Nigerians are online. Yes, we know on mobile phones, maybe 60, 70 million smartphones, I don't know. But there's still another 100 million out there, right? That's a lot of people. Are we leaving all those people? Ubi, I'm asking you, are we leaving them? Are we leaving 100 million Nigerians and we're saying they're not important? Do you understand?
No, we need to find a way to convert them. Conversion is very important.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the single most important thing. You know, if we sort out our domestic market, we're as big as America. Let's be honest. Yeah. And that's why everybody in Africa, you know, every artist in Africa, their number one agenda is to break in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And they can't work out how to do it, but that's their number one agenda. They're sitting in Nairobi, in Joburg, in Josie, and dreaming about how to break in Lagos.
Obi, and that's crazy but we are here and we don't understand the kind of market we have.
No, we're upset. We're upset because we're sitting on top of the market, but we're not monetizing. That's what's upsetting us. If we were iStore and we had done 10 billion products sold in the last 10 years, none of us would be upset, right? None of us would be upset. We have to think beyond. I don't know what the solution is, but this market is the key to the whole thing. The key is not America. It's great. It makes us feel good. It's wonderful to see. The key is this market. We make this market powerful, then you will get more leverage and you get paid higher money when you leave your country. That's how it works. If I know I have to pay you $1 million to leave Nigeria, that's some serious stuff. There's nothing more powerful than that. That is the most powerful thing you could tell. You know how music is offer and acceptance, right? So people ask you how much is Beyonce, how much is Jay-Z, how much is this artist, but you don't really know. It's because it's offer and acceptance. When you get to a particular level, how much is Wizkid? I don't know. Do you understand? But I tell you what, if Wizkid if everybody knows Wizkid is making $1 million every week in Nigeria, before they come and offer him any money for any shows in Europe or America, they're gonna know what they're gonna offer, right? That's how it works. So when you see guys touring worldwide, it's based on that. It's not based on any other thing. So it's great. It's great. It's wonderful that our guys are global and are shining. That's wonderful, and we should never stop that. But just imagine if you were doing the O2, if you had an O2 in every state capital, that's 36, and you were touring 36 once a year, selling them out in 10 minutes, because you can, because you have the power, because in Nigeria, we have the numbers.
Yeah. You know what you just said right now just gave me, because I've always wondered why we'll pay a Beyonce or a Nicki Minaj the kind of amount of money we pay them. You just made me understand it right now, because if they sell an album and make, let's say, $30-40 million or $100 million for their album, why do you want to pay them?
Ubi, let me tell you a true story, right? I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but a few years ago, 2013, I'm in London, and I'm with the Rihanna's team, right? There was Jay, and I'm with the team backstage. We're talking about something, and somebody made an offer. Somebody from Nigeria made an offer to bring her here. You know, they called to make an inquiry about booking her for a billionaire's birthday, right? I can't remember who it was, but some Nigerian, some big guy. And, it wasn't small money. It was like $1 million. It's 2013. So I'm thinking, whoo, I didn't even know she was getting that much money or whatever it was. And it was like, and the guy's like, no, we're not working it like that. That's not the deal, right? That we're going on tour and we're not going to fly all the way to Nigeria for one show. It doesn't make any sense, right? We're going on tour to South Africa. We're going to do 3 shows, 3 stadiums, 80,000 tickets per stadium. That's 200,000 tickets, right? We sold them all out. So that's a long distance, but we fly there. We're there for 10 days. We sell out the 3 shows. We do the promo. We come back. So that makes sense to us. Do you understand? So it's not. So it's not about. It's these things. So the game is based on capacity, right? If we had a touring circuit in Nigeria, right, where we were doing 300 days a year live, we have a 10 times bigger music industry. We have 400 universities and colleges. So we now need to evolve into a live touring circuit. I think that's the key. Post-COVID-19, that's, you know, I told you earlier, we have to get to that because what we've been having has been sponsor activation shows, not tours, yeah? So it's 8, 9 artists, PA, but I'm talking about a tour where it's like just 2 artists, you know, just 2 artists, 3 hours on stage, you know, full show, value for money. I remember seeing P Square in Calabar about 10 years ago. I was producing Calabar Festival. These guys came out on stage for 3 hours. They destroyed the place, you know, and that's what you want to, you know, that, I always think about them because I think like they could have toured Nigeria for 10 years. They played loads of shows, but they never got to tour because we hadn't evolved our industry to that place, yeah? So we have to, that's on us as Nigerians. We can't be expecting anybody to come and fix it. And if we can fix it, then our industry can be as big as anybody's in the world. I think we are definitely the 2nd biggest or 3rd biggest Black entertainment industry on the planet. The first is the Americans, and then the 2nd are the British, right? And then there's us. I mean, but you know, Jamaica's only 7 million people. So you see people that have been punching above their weight, right? So these 7 million people is like Surulere, man.
So, Obi, I really want to appreciate you for coming on the show today because
I appreciate
right
it, man.
now, what I know for a fact is you've given in a lot on. I even have more than we expected we're going to get from you, and this conversation is going to continue. And please, I want you to give me your word that whenever I call you, that we're having another topic on this, on how to fix our industry on Instagram Live. Our next session is on Saturday, same
All right,
time,
man.
8 p.m. Yeah, so please. So I want to get on Kenny to sign up. Then I will do to close up for today, and then we are done. And
I respect, man. I think you're doing a great job driving these conversations, and like from AUDU and Kenny, man. Just respect to Kenny. Kenny was just bringing so much fire, man. Just like
no, I can't wait
bringing the fire, man. It's just too much.
Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, all right then. Take care. Well done.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Where's Kenny?
All right.
I know you've been watching.
Since beginning, you know.
Welcome back to the show. I'm sorry for keeping you this long. You know, we need to fix something, and it's not a conversation that we'll have to tell somebody A plus A is B or so. You've had a lot of people come on the show, but there's one question I want you to start with to close for today. You know, there's one question that I want you. So a lot of record labels have one issue, and the issue is they push an artist and they get to the 5th. For example, the artist has 5 years contract, right? And they get to the 4th year, and he now blows at the end of the 4th year. And then, you know how it is for when an artist blows, the first hit songs the artists have is maybe 500K, 1 million for show, 500K, 1 million. You have to gather that money to shoot a video, right?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Do you think that we should do years contract, or we should do advance kind of system, like how it's done, where it's okay, your contract is X number of years, right? But this is an advance. This is what we are spending, and until you make back that money, until you meet your obligation for the money we are giving you, you can't leave. Do you think that should be what should happen in our industry?
Well, first and foremost, big thank you going out to OBI ASIKA. Big thank you going out to AUDU and all the guys that have spoken. DAREY, to NIYOLA, to
KC.
My boy KC. How now, KC? Mr. Sweet Mary J. A salute. Well, every artist is different. Every artist, let's look at them as persons. Every person is different. UBI is different from Kenny. Kenny is different from DAREY. And it goes like that. I'm talking from my own personal experience. I've signed over 30 artists. And many of them went beyond the time that we signed. Because I, Kenny OGUNGBE, if I have a 5-year contract with UbiFranklin, I would know your behavior. I will know the way you behave after year 3. If you blow, I will know. I will be watching. I will be working with you nicely. Year 4, beginning of year 4, I will know if you are going to sign or if you are not going to sign. I will know because of your attitude, your behavior, and the way you walk. If I find out that there's a red flag, I will reduce investment. I will look about getting back on the invested amount. That's my own business plan. And of course, you yourself, you will know that this man is watching me. I need to behave well, or if I'm tired, I need to tell him. If you don't tell me, I will be looking. The last year, I will know you are no longer interested. And year 4, I'm not investing. You are the one investing on yourself. Again, at the end of the 5th year, I know you are gone. But I'll make sure I did not lose money. It's business. The way artist A behaves different from the way artist 2 will behave. At the end of the 5-year, we now sit down and the call will be from you as an artist. You now sit down and say, okay, you know what? I want us to work together. Once you say that, I know the next thing will be negotiation. I know the next thing is that you want more money for your performance because you have worked. It's normal. Somebody worked with you for 5 years at 30% revenue and some other percentage. You know that he's going to ask for more. You give him. But in scenario where the situation is 30%, I mean like 40%, you're now dividing the 40% to 20%. You want to earn half of what you are earning above what you are earning. It makes no sense. And you now argue back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You knew that he's going to do that, then you let him go. One, you don't have any money. It's not owing you money. He's gone, it's popular, he's gained his popularity, he's done shows, he paid you, you collected your percentage, he's also collected his own percentage. He moves on. But each artist is different. Look at KC. I signed KC for 1 year. 1 year contract from Nigerian breweries. And we ended up spending 4 years. 4 good years. Because he's a good man. Alongside with his partner, Fresh. They were good. Good musically, good human relations. Idris Abdul Karim, I'd never signed anything with him. After the expiry of the first contract, and he still worked with Kenny's music, and I love his the way he works. I'm a very straightforward man. You can come in, hold your like that, and talk to me. You are saying sense. Than somebody that will come in and say, okay, welcome, let us pray. You will pray at the back end. I know you are BSing me. You know, I know the way you work with you so that we can gain whatever you want for your business. That's the way it is. Your attitude will showcase if the agreement is going to turn well or not. But if you are talking with an artist and another person is talking with the artist, throwing money in front of the artist, throwing a lot of money, you know you are going to lose.
Yeah.
The best is to let him go. and you still be friends, you be colleagues, he will respect you, you also will respect him. There's no fight because you work according to your contract. He just came because he's bigger from the way he started from you. You allow him to go and you keep on working. So that's why I said every person is different. And again, it depends on that particular person. And you must have identified his attitude, way of work. If he's going to sign, 3 years after he signed, then you now determine whatever you are going to do. After the 3 years, you will be getting ready that this one is not going to stay, or this one is going to guide you for the future.
Yeah. So I want to really appreciate you for not just coming on the show, but also extending the audience of this show on your radio station. I want to really appreciate you for that. You see, this is a conversation that a lot of artists need to listen to. A lot of also record label or intending investors in our industry need to listen to, because we cannot continue this way. We have to find a way to fix the artist problem, and we have to find a way to fix the record label problem. I like that NIYOLA came on and Casey came on as well, and DAREY came on. They spoke from the artist and label point of view, and he helped. He helped, you know, kind of shaping the conversation we're having. We're going to have another of this conversation on Saturday, and on Saturday we're going to try to bring in more artists that would be part of this conversation. And if you are available, sir, I would really like you to come in briefly on Saturday to just, you know, what you're doing is, yes, you listen to everybody talk, but there's something that we're not here to argue, but we're here to put conversations together that will help us understand where the issue is. You see, NIYOLA made a very, very, very strong point. There are labels that don't listen to their artists, and it's wrong, right? And there are artists that don't listen to their record label. So we need to understand that partnership is communication. You understand?
Absolutely.
And Darry said something about people who hail you to poverty. It's a very strong, it's a very, very strong, and a lot of artists, that has happened to them in this industry. People
absolutely.
Hail them. Sir?
I said absolutely.
Yeah. So OBI ASIKA said something about, he said we need secure channels for distribution, pricing, product, and position. You know, so I've been taking a lot of notes from everyone, and I feel like this conversation is broad. We need to keep having it from different parts of what we are doing. If we can start with how to set up a record label. Kenny's Music has been in existence for a long time. Why not go to Kenny's Music and say, okay, you know what? Instead of me to start up a record label, right? Why not? Let's do it this way. I'll use the people that already currently work for you, right? To power my record label. And I know that my record label is tied to Kenny's Music, or my record label is tied to Chocolate City, or it's tied to Storm Record. You know, different things. So let's agree that this is how it, okay. So since we don't have, you say, okay, I don't have money to pay A&R, I don't have money to pay this. It should be a conversation that is, since you already have an A&R department in your company, right? How can we, as a new company or as a new record label, coming on and saying, okay, this is what we want to do. How can we find a way, right? A proper level playing ground, where a strategy, a structure where we can actually work properly, and all labels are actually tied to different record labels. That is what we are looking for, and that is what I believe that after this conversation, we'll start from the beginning. The beginning is setting up the record label. Okay. Because once the record labels are set up properly, and once we have partnership properly, and once we partner properly, most of the issues artists are having with record labels will reduce. You know, and that's why I said we start having these conversations, and we'll continue. I'm just going to bring AUDU on to close this conversation this night, and then we get ready for Saturday. Thank you so much, sir, for coming, because you really gave us real, you know, sir?
I was thanking you for bringing me on, and of course, thank you for the job you are doing. I hope people were able to learn from us, and again, learn from the whole structure. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, sir. Thank you. AUDU, please kindly come in and close tonight. Come and give us closing prayers, please. AUDU, you need to give us closing prayer. You've heard everything we've said, but you need to give us. We need to tie up this bag of conversation today and hang it somewhere so we can revisit it on Saturday.
Yes. So let us close our eyes in prayer. It's very important time and pray for the industry. But just to round up, I think there's some key nuggets that we need to go home with. The first thing is that it is a partnership. That means two people talk, is a conversation, and that is a way we can resolve our crises. Number two, relationships between record labels and artists is like marriage. If you treat your partner well, and if you're lucky, she or he may not cheat. But sometimes, like other marriages, people will cheat. The question then is, follow the process of the law to get your divorce, and don't just walk around the streets and be shouting and screaming. There's something that Casey said that is very, very important. I didn't even know that Casey had this record label background from his father. So now I understand why there's so much, so much brilliance in what he does. But there's something he said, and I think that this is the problem across every sphere of creative industry endeavor in Nigeria, whether it be film, music, or fashion. Have you noticed that all the designers that we have, they're busy selling to top people, but they don't sell to the masses?
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Imagine if everybody could afford a My Atafo suit at 40,000 naira a piece instead of whatever price that he sells, or Kuneren Twins, or David Wedge. Imagine how much richer they would be. Imagine if we can focus on merchandise for the poorest people that can buy a t-shirt for 1,000 naira and not 15,000 naira for a t-shirt. Imagine that we can sell music at 10 kobo per album and not $10 per album. How many more people could afford that? So I think we're caught up with the glim and glam of Hollywood, not understand that we have a Nollywood situation.
Yeah.
Indeed, as far as Nollywood has gone, Nollywood still has not reached the heights of Hollywood. Do you know, I don't know how you watch this movie called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I don't know if you know that movie. It's a very old movie. It was a musical when we were growing up. It was very popular. Sound of Music. Everybody heard of the Sound of Music, the movie.
Yeah.
Do you know that up to today in Nigeria, we cannot produce Sound of Music, which was shot in 1965? We cannot create, no, think about it now. Which Nigerian movie have you seen create Sound of Music, that quality up to now? So the problem is that we're shooting too high without focusing on the local market. And then there's some things that Darey said, which were very important, which is that everybody is right, but we can't all be right. Somebody definitely must be wrong. And that is why the law is the arbiter of fairness. Now, lawyers' jobs constitutionally is that they defend people no matter what the case is. It's your constitutional right to have a lawyer represent you. So by all means, artists, don't sign a contract without a lawyer. Please don't do that. Get a lawyer and try and get somebody who understands. Now, to round up, there's some points that have been made about globalization and localization at the same time. Post-COVID, the music industry is going to be in trouble. No doubt about that. Live music is going to drop. If you're talking about streaming, we don't have the streaming numbers or the infrastructure, so there's going to be hunger in the land. How do we now begin to recraft our partnerships and see how we can form local associations? How do we, like Diamond Platinum's own radio stations and things that help to create wealth? So I think if we're able to do that, you'll see a change. My final point is this. Dear artists, remember that one day you'll be a record label owner someday. So how you treat your labels today is how you'll be treated tomorrow. And I'm glad that there are many people who have gone through that transition and understand how expensive and how difficult it is. And for you, dear labels, remember that it could be your brother, your sister that is tied to a record label that's wicked as well. So it needs to be a balance. But when all is said and done, what we do with this industry is building the wealth of a nation. It's not about me and you right now. It's about our children and the younger ones who will come and benefit. So let's think big time. Let's think visionary and not missionary. And that's my prayer for today, guys. Thank you, Pastor.
You're having a conversation
Ubi.
Tomorrow.
Thank you, Pastor Ubi. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, co-pastor, for making that happen. You're having a very important conversation tomorrow. I want you to quickly tell us a few things you're going to have, because the conversation I want to listen to. Okay. So I want to quickly touch on that before we go.
Yeah, so tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. I'll be going live with a guy called Tuma Mbasa. He's an African from Rwanda and grew up in Congo, but he's now the most important person in YouTube globally in terms of urban music. And he basically created the hip hop category on Spotify, which at its peak had 9 million subscribers. He's worked in MTV, he's worked with Spotify, he's worked with Puff Daddy, he set up Revolt TV. So if you're talking about the business of entertainment, he really is at the center. And even most recently, he hosted Davido's listening party in New York. I happened to be there as well. So he's very vast, very passionate about Africa. And if you want to know about what's happening globally and how that affects the African music industry today, then you should tune in tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. On my page on IG Live. And yeah, follow the conversation. Let's educate ourselves. That's the most important thing. Let's educate ourselves so we can be better equipped for tomorrow.
AUDU, thank you so much. I'll message you on I think we can have a conversation on who I think we can have on Saturday, because these conversations need to continue. Because what Baba Kenny did today, I've never heard him speak like that, and he came all out.
I must say, no. You see, and sir Kenny, as you're listening to this, I have utmost respect for you. I've talked about you many times. I don't know if you know, but everybody does, and you see, respect is earned. Today he spoke as not just an experienced person, but as a counselor to both parties. There's a way it can work out, and shout out to you, OBI ASIKA, DAREY, NIYOLA, Casey, and this actually will have many more people. And lastly, I also want to say just one thing about loyalty and just relationship, that it's like the relationships I've had with people like Ice Prince or Emma and Co. Our relationships are beyond a contract, right? And I recall that very early we encouraged them to even set up their companies and set up their labels and to actually grow. And I think that if a relationship goes well, that's the kind of thing we want to. We want to see other people grow off of what we've done, and not to end here like you and Techno now. Techno's company or stuff is your success. You and Polo is your success. So there's nothing greater than that, than birthing more success and not just being stuck at being number one forever. So, shout out.
All right. Thank you so much, AUDU. I really appreciate you for being part of this with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you to everyone. Comment section. Bizo, I see you. Casey. I see Casey. Thank you. AUDU Maikori for coming on. Thank you, UBI ASIKA. Thank you, Baba Keke. I thank you so much for coming. Let me see. I can't even find everyone there. Tunji, thank you for coming. Princeton Beat, thank you for coming. Bond, thank you for coming. Shaka L, thank you for coming on. NIYOLA, thank you for coming. Muna from Free Digital, thank you for coming. Mike from Free Digital, thank you for coming. T-Bills, thank you for coming. Sean B, thank you for coming. Shen Caesar, thank you for coming. Efe Money, thank you for coming. LK Kudi, Captain Moore, King Lou, thank you for coming. Latasha Lagos, thank you for coming. Imanse Official, thank you for coming. Thank you to everyone. I can't even find anyone, but hey, let me just try. Thank you to everyone that came on the show today. I really appreciate you. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you. I really appreciate you. Kelvin, Paulo, thank you for coming. Darey, ALADE, thank you for coming. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Appreciate you. See you guys tomorrow.